Get out your feelings. Yeah. Come on into the den, tap in and tell a friend. My name is JJ7000, the most feared debater on this planet. Sit your ass down, because I know you can't stand it. We got a special guest in the building today, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. We got a special
Yes.
guest in the building. I'm talking about an elder teacher, man. I had to get him out the back chat because them youngers was back there being disrespectful. You can't cast the pearls in front of Swayze. That's right.
Absolutely was.
Yeah. Before I get into the meat and potatoes, y'all, we got to introduce the queen of the Lions Den. I'm talking about Sister Karima. Go ahead, queen.
Welcome to the Lions Den.
Yeah.
Oh wait, which queen? I'm sorry. I'm the champ. That's the queen. I'm sorry. The headphone's is the queen. And I
Both
just
of y'all
might be the
queen.
champ.
Sister Karima.
Go ahead, girl. Go ahead. Hi,
No, I'm gonna let the
everybody.
queen talk before the champ. Go ahead.
No, go
You the
ahead.
champ. You
Never
the
mind
champ.
me. I'm trying to.
Come on,
I'm
you
trying
guys.
to
No,
share this on
Karim.
Facebook, but
We gotta
yeah,
keep it
go
the
ahead.
same
Thank
way.
you.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Love you.
Now all right. Now we got the Lions Den ladies champion in the building, and she's bringing her elder to the forefront, man, to teach these youngers what it is about IFA. I'm talking about DJ Genesis, the Lions Den ladies champion. Go ahead.
Yes. So listen, I am DJ Genesis, and I'm also Olorisha. I'm a priest of Ifa. I'm a Orisha priest. And in the back chat, they were talking about a lot of things, asking a lot of questions. I said, you know what? Rather than me, as a young priest, try to answer your questions, I'm going to bring you a scholar in Ifa. And I said, I'm going to let him answer your questions so you could be very clear on what things are. Because a lot of time what happened is when women try to like be in these male spaces, they want to try to challenge them and this, that, the other. And I said, you know what? I know that Baba has been in the ring with the best of them. Okay, Baba Yashabiyah has a doctorate in theology. He was a pastor. He was a part of the Hebrew Israelites for the longest. He was the one. He was there when Ben Ami was setting up his land in Corsicana, Texas. He was there when people were creating the language and things like that. For breaking down language etymology. Baba Yashabiyah has so much experience. He has a doctorate in theology. So he has over 1,500 books in his library. And the list can go on. He's what you would call ascended master.
Yes.
So that's one thing that people don't understand. Ascended master. So it's one thing to challenge him, but it's another thing to not listen. He's 79 years old, and I get it that people want to challenge. You can challenge, but when you challenge and you don't want to give respect and like be quiet and let people teach, and now it becomes like a debate. That's where the thing. What did Henry Clark said? He says, "Listen, I debate my equals; those that are not, I teach." And so there has to be a level of respect that comes to our elders in that level.
Right. And like I say, I felt the energy back there. I'm like, you're not trying to learn, you're trying to antagonize the elder.
Yeah.
Baba Ashiyah, how you say that? Yasha Abba. Can you help me?
Yashaba.
Yashaba.
Yash.
Yeah,
Yeah, Yashaba. Yeah.
that's right. And this when I came in the back, I said, who's that with all them books? See, that was the first thing that impressed me. And then I started listening to him, like, okay, he dropping some jewels. And then these guys, well, the main one was this guy that calls himself Jesus Black. He's a Gnostic. So he's gonna be, have that kind of dissonance in him. Where you can take a horse to the water, but you can't make him drink, ladies and gentlemen. So I said, no, we're gonna get the elder in front of a place where he can teach in peace. So with that being said, let's go ahead and let the elder do his thing, introduce himself. I have to step out for a minute, so DJ Genesis will be running the show. I gotta go peek in on side of the TV because they got my debate going over there where I just beat the brakes off Chief X. You know what I mean? So I gotta go chill. I'll be back then. All right, but this hey, yeah, I got the keys. And here's my announcement, ladies and gentlemen. This is my new teacher. JJ will be studying, Mandika Mali will be studying IFA. I'm from the transition over. So go ahead, teacher. Go ahead and do your thing.
Right. I want to say
I'll be back.
Modu
Yeah.
means thank you, my brother. I appreciate you coming on the fine line and protecting the rear. We take it upon you taking up the rear and you put them in place.
Yeah.
What I want to say now, are you the brother that wants the copy of the language? from the Hebrew language book that we put together?
No, that wasn't me. I came in last, and I put my foot on his neck when he started. They was questioning you, and it was being disrespectful.
Okay, well then okay, that's another brother. Now, and like I said, even with my experience coming through the Hebrew community, I still brought IFA along with, because there's many things in the Hebrew concept that's founded in IFA. So I was able to bring some things along in the custom and move to the next level. I want to say Modu Pay to my brothers and his protectiveness, and thank for the platform. If we ever expect to pull the organic people out of the muck and mud, then we got to get out from under this Eurocentric mindset and
That's right.
ideology and philosophy. And you can't keep fighting the white man stuff with the white man stuff. You got to find the origin, because everything he got, he's known for copying. Matter of fact, in the book, Ephraim,
Teach us.
in Ephraim, the complete work of Arumila, it tells you under a particular page called the white man. And the white man in Ephraim is not a color person of skin color. It is a energy and a principle that seeks to overthrow the divinity of our ancestors, to replace it. And he's showing this on a daily basis with all his robots and all his inventions, because the man he created in Ephah could not speak. There is a passage in there, and if you haven't had the book, I've got the book, and I will go to. I'm going to Ephah isn't a complete work of Arumila.
The book is called Ephiism, the complete work of Arumila. And that book is like 500 bucks to get. By the way, the books that Baba has in his library, some of them are thousands of dollars. I just heard that Umar just lost a bunch of books, like $5,000 worth of books or whatever.
This is the book.
Yep, go ahead.
See, documentation beats conversation. I'm going to page 200 in the book, and it tells you about this being we call the white man. Remember, it says on page 200, he came in the world under the Odu Irete Meiji. See, everything that comes in the world comes in the world under a specific order. See, Ifa is not religion. It is a science of how to deal with the celestial realm in a terrestrial world. That's why it's so powerful. And more folks don't do it, because they want to make it into a religion by adding cultural custom tradition and make it a burden more than an asset. Every family needs somebody in that family that knows the art of divination and understand these odus and how to interpret them to keep down mental illness. The reason mental illness is so high because we're trying to figure out a spiritual thing in a terrestrial world when your ori, which is your inner spirit conscience, and your heart is out of balance. No other religion other than Buddhism may tell you about become equal with your source, but they don't tell you how to get there. Ifa gives you the formula, the binary code, and the algorithm how to get there. There's a thing called African fractal. It's a known fact that our system of mathematics runs the entire world today. Even your white scholars have testified with their Fulbright scholarships. They learn this particular algorithm or binary code, and they call it African fractal. Sister Monica, could you pull up the African fractal so they can know? We want to teach with signs and symbols and show and tell. That way, there is no guesswork in it. It ain't what I'm thinking. It's that's running the world today. IFA science runs this world today. So then I'll get to this. Get what's here in this IFA works of Arumila. Is the way you can help me out with that, my beloved goddess. Just bear along with us because we're ready today. Trust me, this is my day. So can you pull up the thing we did on fractals and how they went and spent big money? This is how powerful it is. Neo, one love. Okay, happy to see you. Welcome. I should say, hey, Cowboy. Sister Genesis. I know she ain't going on vacation. Where you
Can
at?
you see my screen? So I just shared my screen. Just like share the screen.
Okay, let's
Should I play part 1 or 2? Should I go get right into it, or should I go?
go get right into it because we want people to see. Well, he's talking about the important. They call it African practice.
So I tracked down one of the folks who makes these things. This guy in Mali, just outside of Bamako, and I asked him, "How come you're making fractal fences? Because nobody else is." And his answer was very interesting. He said, "Well, if I lived in the jungle, I would only use the long rows of straw." Because they're very quick and they're very cheap. Doesn't take much time, doesn't take much straw. He said the wind and dust goes through pretty easily. Exponent for the relationship between wind speed and height and the wind engineering handler. So these guys are right on target for a practical use of scaling technology. The most complex example of an algorithmic approach to fractals that I found was actually not in geometry. It was in a symbolic code. And this was Bamana sand divination. And the same divination system is found all over Africa. You can find on the East Coast as well as the West Coast, and often the symbols are very well preserved. So each of these symbols has 4 bits. It's a 4-bit binary word. You draw these lines in the sand randomly, and then you count off. And if it's an odd number, you put down 1 stroke, and if it's an even number, you put down 2 stroke. And they did this very rapidly. And I couldn't understand where they were getting, they only did the randomness 4 times. I couldn't understand where they were getting the other 12 symbols. And they wouldn't tell me. They said, no, I can't tell you about this. I said, well, look, I'll pay you. You can be my teacher and I'll come each day and pay you. I said, it's not a matter of money. This is a religious matter. And finally, out of desperation, I said, well, let me explain George Cantor in 1877. And I started explaining, think I was there in Africa. And they got very excited when they saw the Cantor set. And one of them said, come here, I think I can help you out here. And so he took me through the initiation ritual for a Bamana priest. And of course, I was only interested in the math. So the whole time he kept shaking his head going, I didn't learn it this way. But I had to sleep with a kola nut next to my bed, buried in sand, and give 7 coins to 7 lepers and so on. And finally, he revealed the truth of the matter. And it turns out it's a...
But hold on, before we go into that, what was happening here was he got initiated into Baba Luaye. Baba Luaye is the deity of leprosy and like illness and sickness, right?
Right.
That is the Orisha that owns his head. So that's why he was given like the thing to give something to 7 lepers and this, that, the other. So he's just very dismissive about what his task was to do with the initiation. Like he had to do this and then put a thing over here or whatever, big deal, no big, Now this is a TED talk. I'm not sure if anybody knows what TED is. TED is a very well-known platform where this interview right here got over 1 million views. And he has a book, Ron English has a book called African Fractals, where he's going into Africa talking about the communities and how they shape their communities based on like a fractal, which is like pretty much around like a thing that starts small, then grows, but also has like the same format as you go out. And this is what his thing is about. And so he got $1 million. What was it? Carnegie Fulbright. He got a $7 million Fulbright scholarship to go into Africa and study African fractals. And in his study, then he also discovered divination. So as he was there, just discovering how the communities were built, he ended up seeing a Babalawo who did the divination system for him. And then he saw that there was a binary code within the system and then began to research further. So that's the context given there. So let's go.
Pseudo-random number generator. They're using deterministic chaos. When you have a 4-bit symbol, you then put it together with another one sideways. So even plus odd gives you odd. Odd plus even gives you odd. Even plus even gives you even. Odd plus odd gives you even.
Let's go. Go ahead.
Yeah, I want you probably because that particular right, you see that those 2 marks and the double marks at the bottom. On the other side, you got a mark. Those are called odus in the language. And that tells a whole story when that falls on either on the opele or chain, even with the shells. That gives out a patch key or story how to deal with the question that you ask or the situation. Sister Monica, the first one to your left, which one is that? The 2121.
The Odu of 2121.
Yes, Odu 2121. Because this is a language as well, people. It ain't just some lines. It's a communication. So, what is that particular one there?
So I'm gonna show it to you. So all right. So can you guys see my screen?
Yeah, there you go. Bring it up.
All right. So 2 1. That is Ofun Meiji. Ofun
Ofun Meiji.
Meiji.
And what does Ofun Meiji tell us?
Usually that means like birth, rebirth.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
You know.
now you can go into the system and pull it up, but that's Ofun Meiji. And then there's another one that you go back to and pick them, and this is what you call a combination. So we got a combination, and the next one is 1221. So these are two. This is a combination.
All right. So 1221 is Oshe Meiji.
So Ofun Oshe Meiji, and that will give us a whole layout how to deal with that particular individual. Interpretation. Go down, go down. Yeah.
Let me I'll bring up the actual Odu.
Okay, yeah, bring it up. So we see how important it is. No other religion does it. Only this spiritual. I mean, they got thing with. I got the tarot cards. Man, pull them tarot cards. I mean, it can only carry you so far. But when you understand these various Odus, this gives you a roadmap to understand what's going on. Okay, for instance, here we go.
All right, hold on. Let me that's in a different language. So let me see. So I'm gonna go to Ofun Meiji and what that means.
Yeah.
So Ofun Meiji, or in some tradition, is a significant Odu symbolic pattern in IFA divination system associated with completion, wholeness, fulfillment of destiny. It represents the culmination of life's journey, emphasizing achieving goals and realizing one's full potential. Ofun also deals with the themes of revelation, time, inheritance, and the significance of sight, often symbolized by light and purity. So with that and then and that's the 2121.
Okay. What that means is every home needs someone in the home that can either be a priest or a priestess to cut down on family and mental illness. By doing that, you would sit down and you would do a reading, and then you can also get a remedy or a formula. And then you, for instance, it was talking about, well, you read what about purity and everything. There are spiritual baths that you can do, and you need a sense of knowledge of herbalism. And these things, it all comes into study. Well, why is this so important? Because we are people that are close to spiritual by nature than any species on the planet. We work off a spiritual, but sometimes they get mixed up in terrestrial. So that's why it's important. And red thing, if you notice among the Hebrew community, they've got certain laws and things that governs what you do and how to stay pure, how to stay clean, how to balance. But the tool they was given was called the Urim Theorem, how to go to God and ask questions. Well, everybody said, well, let's pray. Prayer was never a thing brought to the Europeans showed up. We didn't go there and do all that. We would go to the priest, they would divine and tell us what we could or should not do based on the readings. Now we run around here guessing, all right, what we got here now. O'Shea Meiji. So what he was telling us in that in Africa, for the sake of conversation, that we had an ancient system that was able to help us in our family structures and growth. All time listen what I'll look at Amistar, and CK was the one that really popped my ears. When CK was talking to John Adams, and they asked him about the Mendi tribe. He said when the Mendi is in trouble, we would go to before time and invoke, not in particular, but invoke our ancestors into us. Well, in IFA, it says that the Orishas live within us. Our ancestors live within us. We all time build memorials to our ancestors, but the actual power is that you are a walking, living shrine and manifestation of the ancient people before time. Not just 500. We're talking about 2.5 billion years ago.
So O'Shea Meiji in Ifa tradition, what that deals with is it's associated with transformation, the
Right.
appointment of rituals, and realizing potential. O'Shea Meiji also expresses themes of femininity, the experience of being a victim, and exercise of revenge. The detailed, transformation and ritual. So what happens is that when a certain Odu gets cast, you are told what's going the stories behind it, and then you are told what you do to fix the situation. So it's not like a tarot reading where you're just told, oh yeah, something's coming up. No, you get told what's going on, and then you get told, okay, this is how you're either doing good in this situation, or you're balanced in a situation. So if O'Shea Meiji were to come up, right, transformation, importance of rituals, realizing potential, femininity, being a victim, right? Either you're balanced or you're imbalanced in that. If you're balanced, you do a ritual to continue the balance. If you're imbalanced, you do a ritual to get
bring the
back to
balance.
balance. So
And
that's
the
pretty
other
much
thing about it is that no matter what comes in this world, we call good or bad, it has to come in the world under a particular Odu. And in that Odu, it tells you how to address that thing. That's the power that you have. That's why Baba Karate says, if I can mend a broken world, because it knows how to mend a broken world by understanding what came in the world, under what sign. And even in the Bible, it says you were born with an angel, a guardian angel. Some say, well, you were born with a power animal among the so-called Native Americans. But we say there's an Orisha that comes with you and walk with you and guide you as your guide. They don't interfere. They just give you a guide. And a lot of times it's that still small voice or that unction that comes. And if you can check it with I told everybody needs to understand a divination system, whether it be Pokara shells, Marine de Lagoons, or Opele, or Ikim. We don't do tarot because tarot is a late thing. And the origin of it is not what we're dealing. We're dealing with elevation. If I'm going too fast, tell Baba to slow down. I'm trying to go somewhere with this. Why it's important to understand religion has its place, spirituality has its growth.
So I wanted to play a little bit more of this TED talk so they could actually see, because the question was is that you're saying that this all is the origin of binary code and it's like the beginning of the computer. So let's go into how he breaks this down. Let's go.
It's addition modulo 2, just like in the parity bit check on your computer. And then you take this symbol and you put it back in, so it's a self-generating diversity of symbols. They're truly using a kind of deterministic chaos in doing this. Now, because it's a binary code, you can actually implement this in hardware. What a fantastic teaching tool that should be in African engineering schools. And the most interesting thing I found out about it was historical. In the 12th century, Hugo of Santillana brought it from Islamic mystics into Spain. And there it entered into the alchemy community as geomancy, the divination through the earth. This is a geomantic chart drawn by for King Richard II in 1390. Leibniz, the German mathematician, talked about geomancy in his dissertation called De Combinatoria. And he said, well, instead of using one stroke and two strokes, let's use a 1 and a 0. And we can count by powers of 2, right? Ones and zeros, the binary code. George Boole took Leibniz's binary code and created Boolean algebra, and John von Neumann took Boolean algebra and created the digital computer. So all these little PDAs and laptops, every digital circuit in the world started in Africa. And I know Brian Eno says there's not enough African in computers, but I don't think there's enough African history in Brian Eno. So let me end with just a few words about applications that we've found for this. And you can go to our website. The applets are all free. They just run in the browser.
So they created applications based on this entire system And so I wanted to address the fact that, okay, because people say, oh, well, they used Islamic geomancy.
No.
But is there a difference between IFA geomancy and IFA geomancy? What is the connection between all these divinations systems, be it the Urim Thummim, Islamic divination? What is the connection?
And the thing is that it's all born out of Ifa. It's all born out of Ifa. Each one borrowed from the other one to create. It's like an evolution or growth or transition. You took this and from that and you added this to it and that to it and that to it, and it evolved to a certain level. But remember, without the base binary system, you don't have the rest of them. So Ifa is the foundation of what we call our technology today for our AI, which means ancestral intelligence. It is the system that everything runs off to this day, even our cell phones. You know, so IFA has more impact on daily life growth than any religion or thing out there that you can come up with. There's none like it. As a matter of fact, in the book Ifaism, it said, and I think I put it up on your chart, it is the oldest philosophy known to mankind. So no matter how far back you go, it starts with the origin of our people. Now, we looked up, there was a young man by the name of Albert Perry. His DNA goes back, his Y chromosome went back for as 340,000 years ago. So if you don't want to accept 2.5 billion, let's take on the 340,000 years. Well, according to, and watch this, and this is not to upset, but a lot of folks run around talking about the Bible. What does the Bible timeline start? Because there is a timeline for it. Well, let me give you the answer. You got that right there, but slide that aside. The guy that started the chronology and timeline that we have today, the people going by name was Archbishop Ursher. And this is the white boy that gave you a biblical timeline that more folks, him. What did he say the world started, how the world started, when the world started? And he was born in 1581, died 1656. And what in the hell does he know? Well, let's see, the world obeys. And what did he say? Archbishop Ursula. Let's see what the old boy said. And everybody followed this boy's concept on how the world got started. There it is. James Ursher. January, okay. Okay. Can you want to read that for us, Sister Monica? I mean, I just want everybody to see that we're not making this up. Church of Ireland Archbishop, etc. between 1625 and 1650. He was a prolific Irish scholar, a church leader who today is famous for his identification of the genius letters of the church, Father Ignatius of Antioch, and for his chronology that sought to establish the time and date of creation as the entrance of the night preceding the 23rd day of October, the year before Christ, 4004 BC, around 6 p.m. on the 22nd of October, 4004 BC. So he's saying that the world started on October the 23rd or 22nd around 4 BC. Now here's a man's Y chromosome. That's 4004 BC. Now in BC, you count down. AD, you count up. We got a man's Y chromosome goes back 340,000 years. How many years between 340,000 years and 4004 BC? How many years is that? Remember, this man is the father of all men. His is 340,000 years. So why do I look at Adam and Eve when we got folks older than Adam and Eve people? Why do I look into Kemet when we got people that's older than Kemet? Boy, that was even thing called a Kemet. No attack, just facts. And you got fossils and things that already tell you this thing.
Well, the thing about it, the Bible starts off, Genesis starts off with the creation of the earth. So whenever the earth was created would be when Genesis started. So even if you're saying, So even if you're saying the earth started billions of years ago or whatever, that's when the story of Genesis starts.
Well, let's just see. Who wrote the book of Genesis?
It don't matter who wrote it.
Yes, it has to,
The
because whoever
chronology,
authored it, the author of the chronology of it, had to write in order for us to get a data timeline. You can't negate, when it comes to it, you cannot negate time. Time is a part of the create process. The book says, and the evening and morning was the first day. So that it's a time involved in there. How are you going to dismiss when in the book in Genesis says that
so
the evening
it
and the
starts
morning?
on the first day.
Huh?
So yeah, so right there it tells you that it starts on the
Evening
first
and
day.
the morning. What evening
Yeah,
and what morning was the first day?
the
What day?
first day of planet Earth.
Huh?
The first day of planet Earth.
Planet Earth. And what day was that? What
Day
time?
one.
Day
Was
one.
that Monday, Tuesday,
No,
Wednesday,
there
Sunday?
was no Monday, Tuesday. I mean, if you want to go with your
Right, right.
European
Because it says day
ideologies,
one.
it said
Okay,
day one. It was the first day.
okay. Then what would be day one? Called a BC before. So how you have a day one? If now if you pull up the
The Bible doesn't tell you
why
how many
shouldn't it?
years
Why
the
shouldn't it
Earth
tell
was
us?
here.
Why shouldn't it tell us? Why, if we're going to count on it and it to be our authority on life, why wouldn't it tell? What it tells us all the other books. It tells about when who wrote it, when. It has a timeline on it. Why is Genesis out there without a timeline? Or for instance, if I typed in the writers of the priesthood of that wrote the book of, because it wasn't Moses, because even the rabbis say they attributed the 5 books of the Torah to Moses. Moses wasn't even around when this was done. So how did he get the data to write about Genesis? Where did the data come from? And don't tell me it was already built in, because remember, his name was Shemaiah before he named him Moses. So the book of Genesis,
The way the data came from the Most High, the Most
and who
High,
is the most high? And who is the most high?
Yahweh.
Yahweh. Now, how many gods was in existence while Yahweh is on the planet?
Well, while he was on the planet,
Yeah, while we are on the planet.
I don't know. He created a lot of other gods by the time that he
He
created
created.
the planet.
No, why would God create other gods to challenge him if he was the only God?
They weren't
Monica,
supposed to challenge him.
Monica, go to Proverbs 8th chapter, verse 22.
They weren't supposed to challenge him.
It's supposed to come on now.
Other gods were supposed to
Why would
serve him.
why wouldn't the all-knowing God know that these other entities was not going to challenge if he's all-knowing?
I didn't tell you he was all knowing. I didn't
It's,
tell you whether he was all knowing or not.
okay, they claim that God is all-knowing.
Let's go
Which
talk to who claim it.
yeah, okay, a lot of people say that you're all-powerful, all-knowing, and there's no failure.
So I got an answer for a lot of people.
Okay, here we go. Genesis, go to Proverbs, the 8th chapter. I'm gonna stand in the book and I'm gonna come back. This one I'm trying to show the importance of what IFA says and give us a history of the world before this world. Most people don't understand that that was the world before this, and we all came into this reality from another existing situation. And it talks about that. Everything will replenish. How can a thing replenish if it never existed? And replenish the earth and multiply. So it must have been something before that in order for us to replenish. So it says, the Lord brought me forth as of the first of his works. You may be reading from the NIV. Give me the KJV. That's the NIV. Can you give me the KJV? So everybody used to the International Version. That's the worst translation out there. So let's go back to the KJV. Now I'm not trying to be no smart ass anything. I'm only going by what we learned through the years. It's my study in the priesthood, in the church, and when I came into the understanding that we are spiritual beings in a terrestrial world. So to understand the importance of knowing who I am and what I am depends on my future and my participation and my gift to the world. So here it says, and this is wisdom. If you go to go to was at 8:1. It says wisdom speaking. So wisdom is one that's speaking here. And the Lord possessed me in the beginning of his way before his works of old. I was set up from everlasting, but from the beginning, or ever the earth was. Stop. So when this happened, there was no earth. When there was no depth, I was brought forth. When there was no fountain abound with water, before the mountain was ever settled. These are things that happened before this thing we call the world when the day started. That was already in preparation. Before he prepared the heavens, I was there. And when he set up, it comes on the face of the deep. Next verse. When he established the clouds above, and when the strength of the fountain was deep, when he gave the sea its decree, that the water should not pass its command, when he appointed the foundation of the earth. That's your directions. Now, then I was by him as one brought up with him. We're not the same. So who's this other entity there that's with the creator when it's all going on? And I was daily his delight, rejoicing always before him, rejoicing in the habitation part of the earth, and my delight was in the sons of men. That's what the scripture says. And what can we deduct, analyze from that statement? That means there was something else with God, or what Allahim or Elohim, that he was not there by himself. And you say the world started in the world. This thing had existed before, because it says and replenished the earth, which means it had a beginning before we got where we are now. So what happened to that world?
But I just told you that the Bible says that the Most High created these beings, the other deities, the other deities.
Okay, could you give me the scripture?
Can I finish?
Sure.
All right, so the Bible says that the Most High, which is what I told you, created these beings before he created the earth. That's exactly what I told you. You went to the Bible and read something about a being that was there before the creation of the earth, which only you gave me the scripture that says exactly what I was telling you.
Well, you were talking about the day the world started, day one. I went
Yeah,
back before
but
day.
you read right. No, you're going to a previous scripture. The scripture you just read about someone being there, the proverb scripture. Someone being there. I guess you assumed it was a human. I'm assuming it was a celestial being, a divine being. Okay, well, we're on the same page then.
Yep,
it was a divine being that was there while the Most High created all of this. That's what he was testifying to. He didn't say he helped. He didn't say he was part of the creation. He didn't say he told Yahweh to do this. He said he witnessed it and observed it. And I told you it was other beings already created by the time all of this took place, which is what, it only lines up. So we're not saying nothing different.
No, I'm not saying the human, because there was no human there. We're talking about a spiritual realm, the energy of forthcoming. The point is this: you try to give me a day one, you still have not gave me a time when day one started. Now,
because the Bible don't give a time when day one starts. How am I going to give you a time when the Bible say day one started, when the Bible does not give that? So you want me to make stuff up?
No. Listen to me carefully. My point is this: we count on the Bible. Every year we got loopholes and blanks in it. Does not fill the gap, and that is that day one. When you go back and look at the origin of the Genesis creation story, it says every nation historically has a creation story, and minimum is older than the Genesis story, or the story in Genesis. Where did the priesthood that tabulated the Bible get their data from to write about a creation story? Are you familiar with Jewish myth and legends?
Not extremely familiar.
Okay, Sister Monica, I sent you a screenshot of Encyclopedia Britannica. Says Jewish myth and legend. Do you remember that? Could you pull that up?
Did you send it to my Facebook or to my phone?
Text. I think we texted to you and we had it. And I thank you in there. Or matter of fact, you can, and I hate using the word Google because they tend to want to go and adjust and readjust it. But when I started with the group out on Hillcrest and the Rabbi David Lyme, then there's a thing called the Jewish Encyclopedia uh, uh, that they use, and in it told us, because anyone that looks it up knows that this story was borrowed from the east, the northeastern, and was brought forward as they created it. So it says in here, and this is not, we're only going through because why do we use the Bible? Because 6.9 billion people consider this to be the word of God and to be on point, and they base their life on it, their livelihood on it. Yet at the same time, we negate the other thing that's older, yeah, uh, that's older than this particular book, you know, and and with thing it says, okay, all right,
The Book of Genesis presents two creation stories. In
how
the
many?
first
How
two,
many? Two.
two.
Ain't the same. Go ahead.
God creates the world in 6 days, resting on the seventh, while the second focuses on the creation of Adam and Eve. These accounts detail the creation of light, the firmament, land, sea, celestial bodies, and living creatures, culminating in the creation of humanity.
Lithia was the first wife of Adam. Lydia is the first wife of Adam. Okay.
Lilith, so mythological creatures. A figure, Lilith, a figure often depicted as Adam's first wife. She is portrayed as independent and powerful, but also associated with demons and infanticide. Golem, a creature brought to life from inanimate matter, usually clay, often serving as protector or helper to the Jewish community. Debuk, a wandering soul that possesses a living person, often driven by unfinished business or demonic influence. Three monstrous creatures associated with the end of days, potentially
Leviathan and
involved.
yeah, the folklore.
Yeah, like Lilith was I am familiar with the legend of Lilith, and that's pseudepigrapha. It doesn't appear in the Bible, and the part of the Bible where they allege that it's talking about Lilith is rendered as a screech owl or a night owl or something like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
So it says Jewish myths and legends encompass a rich tapestry of narratives, including creation stories, tales of mythical creatures, and folklore surrounding historical figures and events. These stories, found in the Torah, Talmud, and other Jewish texts, often serve to teach moral lessons, explore theological concepts, and preserve cultural identity. All right,
meaning
so hold
what?
on.
Type in Jewish myth and legend and bring it up. It says that the first 11 chapters of the book of Genesis is classified as Jewish myth and legend. That is under Botanical, volume 10, page 191, second paragraph, and it states that the vast repertoire of Jewish myths and legends begin with the first 11 chapters of the book of Genesis. Would you? It should be in there, which simply means the Bible has myth, metaphors, allegories, dogma, and legend. These are the things that
Yes, that's like what they label all religion as. So it's not really
I mean,
saying much to say that.
but,
Wait,
then
hold on. I mean, I just, I give respect when people talk, and with all due respect. So what I'm saying is that every religion, including IFA, everything you told me about IFA earlier before we got on here, that would have been called IFA myth and legend.
true.
So every religion out there is going to be called myth and legend to an atheistic society. And I'm not saying the entire society is atheistic, but science takes an atheistic approach. Even if the scientists believe in God, they're not supposed to bring that into the science field. So therefore, making science atheistic. So to science and that world, the scholastic world, yes, it's going to be looked at as myth. I don't believe none of this stuff is myth, though, and I don't think you do either.
So the actual two creation stories that are found in the first two chapters of the book are considered under Jewish myth and legends.
And I wouldn't argue with the people that gave us the book. And the writer of it in the Barada Shah, which you call the New Testament, even the writer Paul in Galatians 4th chapter, verse 20 and 21 says that the story of Abraham and the is Hagar is allegory.
So would you argue with them same writers when they say that IFA, Orishas are myth, pure myth?
I would not argue with anyone about that. I would ask you and the data, because even our life itself that we're living today is a myth.
Okay,
And I
that
would
nigga
also
gets
say this. Let
everything
me also say
myth.
this is
Right.
that Ifa does not refer to its myth in these stories as like to be 100% truth, but a thing to explain a situation to allow people to understand what's going on in their life. You can't read Ifa from front to back. You know, you go to a priest divines for you, and based on that, a story is told, and that story identifies with something within your life. And so that myth in that story is not uh, uh, like necessarily like considered to be like it's like that. This is what really happened, but the story is to tell.
All right, so how did the earth get created according to IFA traditions, or do it not tell that?
Yes, it does.
And I think that it
All
does
right,
tell
so
them.
how
Hold on,
I'm talking to Baba. I'm talking about.
but I do want to say this real quick because I just
Okay,
made
hurry up.
a statement that even in the Odu Ifa, that even it might tell a story, it is not considered to be a 100% fact about this exactly what happened. It's a parable
So
meant to make a point about the certain thing. You understand what I'm saying? So there's
your
stories
creation
about the
story is
king.
a lie. I get it.
No,
Okay, so you want us
no,
to
that's
believe a
not what I'm
lie. You
saying.
want us. All right.
No,
So can you tell us this
right.
IFA
No, they don't like to
creation
hear from
story?
women.
No, it's not that. Is you going on about something else? And
No, I'm not
yeah,
going on
like
about her.
you
I'm
just
going on
telling me
about
it's a
exactly.
lie.
No,
It's a
no, I'm not
lie.
saying no. That's
You
what you
saying it's
think.
a lie. You're saying
No,
it's a
I'm
lie
not.
that
What I'm saying,
IFA
no, you
admits it's a
no,
lie.
excuse
And
me.
I
Let's
don't think
not do that.
anyone in Africa, I don't think anyone in Africa would consider this shit a lie. It's y'all niggas in America that want to take African tradition and telling people it's a fucking lie. They don't believe that, and they wouldn't like you
Listen,
saying that
I
shit.
think that they understand that these are patakis. That's what they
No,
have.
the fuck they don't.
That's why they have a name for it called pataki. These are stories meant to illustrate a point. Just like they have parables in English, pataki, parable. So bottom line is these stories are meant to illustrate a point or to tell a story about something to teach a lesson. That is the
So it's
difference
a myth.
between.
So it's a myth.
Are
Let
they
me
rooted in facts? Is there any facts or historical
It's a
or like
lie.
to
She
back
just said
that?
they're a lie. She said it's a lie. She said it's not supposed to be true. If it ain't true,
I
it's a
never
lie,
said it was
right,
a
sister?
lie, but I said they were considered to be patakis, just like a parable.
No, before that you said they're never considered.
No,
If don't consider them to be true, you said that. They're not like the
what I
Bible
said is
claims
that
this stuff to be true. Ephi don't claim this stuff to be true. So you telling us it's a fucking lie. If it's not true,
no,
it's a lie.
that is not exactly what
Either it's
what
the
I
truth
said.
or it's a lie. That is what you said. I mean, it's
No,
recorded this time. The
that is
back
not what
chat
I said, and it is
conversations aren't
recorded. You know, it
recorded.
is recorded. It's
It's
on my
recorded.
channel and on this channel.
Okay.
So I'm
Oh, so
streaming
you can't delete it.
dually on both channels.
Hold
So
on,
I'm not going to
hold on.
delete any.
peace
Yeah,
now. Peace,
hold on.
family.
Hold on. Let the brother gain the floor back to explain.
All right, I was trying to get these EFA creation story narratives. What can you explain that, Bible?
The thing about it, in one of the stories, it talks about Obatala giving the command from Olodumare to come and to create the world. Same thing you find in your Bible, that he created a golden chain and came down and discovered the water, and he brought forth a, a chicken, a chameleon, etc., and then it spread it out the earth. That's the but we understand the narrative of that
A
nobody
chicken.
really came down with no golden chain or anything. You look beyond what would be the golden chain that he came down on. It's almost like Jack and the Beanstalk. When it comes down
DNA.
DNA, you talking about you talking about that?
Okay. All right. My bad.
Wait. Now, brother, wait a minute, please, family. We're trying to get an overstanding on the because we're only discussing things we've read and we took in and we accepted as a pattern of information. But the whole overall thing that I look at is how has this that we've learned elevated us out of our situation to a higher understanding of who we are and what we are in this diaspora. That's my point. I don't care if it's the Hebrew Israelite, Jack Rabbit, Duke Rabbit, whatever you studying has it elevated your life to a place of peace of mind and bound between your celestial world
Yes,
and the terrestrial world. And
absolutely.
if that's it, there is no discussion. You
All
already
right.
said. You already
All
said.
right. All right.
There's
So
no
let me ask you this.
I'm going to read this real quick before we go forward.
Oh,
In
come
Yoruba
on,
language,
man.
pataki, all right, also spells patak.
Don't
Pataki.
nobody care about no patty
No,
cake.
no, no, no,
Goddamn.
no,
Come
no.
on,
Listen,
man.
stop it.
I'm
Refers
trying to
to,
respond to what he just
but
said, and
hold
you.
on. I'm trying to explain to you something, and you just want listen. Refers
I
to
wanted to
oral,
respond, and you said, "Hold
but
up, hold up."
what? Listen,
Hold on. This is her show and his show. So if
No,
she want to
no,
break something down,
Karima, it's
no,
not
let
like
her
that.
break.
It's not. Wait, Karima, it's not like that for real. It's not.
Okay, but if she want to break something down, let her
So
break it
they're
down. Don't leave
having
me.
this show. They're having this show because she invited me on here. They didn't just automatically. This
no,
was a last
and we
minute show.
invited
I was
Baba.
on the call. Man, all right,
No,
well I'm
hold
out.
on.
Y'all
All
call me
right,
when y'all
bye.
want some
Yeah,
smoke.
Yeah,
Fuck
you
that
you
shit.
just want
yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
bye.
No, it
Anyway,
ain't no want.
no,
Bye.
continue. Just go continue because, like I said,
So
In
you
Yoruba
did you did
language,
so you
so
telling me
hold on.
I'm
Here's the
fucking
thing.
lying right
that
No,
now?
you.
no.
You
When
telling me I'm
I
fucking
listen, I explained to you what
No,
a
hold on, sister.
Yes, ma'am.
Just present your information. Stop trying to go back and forth with him because clearly it's already getting off to a wrong start between y'all two. So just explain your information, okay? And then let the brother explain his information. Ain't nobody up here gonna cut nobody off the information because I'm watching and I'm pretty sure other people watching and trying to hear it. Ain't nobody gonna dictate what somebody gonna bring out and what they gonna be able to explain.
Right.
Especially when these two is the persons that came at me. I don't know nothing about anything else. So I'm not gonna sit there and not defend the person that came at me for this opening. So continue.
So as it says, right, in Yoruba language, pataki, also spelled pataki, because he said, so your creation story is not considered to be fact. Well, what I'm trying to explain is to him is that we understood that these were stories meant to illustrate a point. We never felt like this thing came down onto a chain and went down and some chickens was plucking on the earth and blah 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 blah. We were smart enough to know that these were stories to illustrate a point. So in Yoruba language, pataki also spells pataki refers to oral narratives, particularly those of Lukumi faith, Ifa, Santeria stories. These narratives are similar to parables in Christianity and are used to teach moral lessons. So we
So
know we weren't
metaphors.
stupid enough to
Yeah,
think that the
metaphor.
person came down onto a chain. So he asked, right? He says, listen, so what is your creation story? It's like, so I had to interrupt and say, well, hold on, because they're going to say, oh, the creation story, it says this, that, the other. Well, that sounds ridiculous. Well, we understood that it sounded, but that's not the point. We knew that this stuff was about a myth. We knew that it was about a story because these things are sang. The patakis are songs, okay? Whenever you hear a pataki, the Babalawo sings it in a song format to
That's
tell
right.
a story of something that happened. And then when they do the divination for the individual person, that person identifies with an aspect of that story, and that might be the story because it'll be several different things underneath that pattern that says, okay, well, this is the thing I'm going through right here. This is it. And then from there they say, okay, well, that's it. All right, well, this is what you need to do. You know,
Yeah,
so
I think Neo wanted to hear from Baba though. I think he
yeah,
wanted to
yeah.
ask Baba questions.
But the thing is that he wants to go down a series of questions,
He wanted
and
to debate.
he wants to debate.
Neil wanted to debate, and I'm not going to do that because he don't
No,
want to go
see,
and look.
hold on. I was called. Let me explain to everybody. I was called because, for the simple fact, I was told that this brother was getting interrupted on whatever panel that y'all was on, and he needs to present his information because you opened the panel for him and the sister. All this other stuff I don't know nothing about. So I want him to present his information. After he present his information, Then y'all can question the information that's presented. All these asking questions in between him trying to present information is dead.
Okay.
Yes,
Ashe.
ma'am. I appreciate Ashe. Ashe.
Yeah. Well, I think when talking with the brother earlier, the purpose was to set this up so we come on and tell them. I'm trying to show the importance of IFA in today's world and why we can it can be used to help benefit our life, both economically, socially, and in our family. Because right now we're in a time now of a metamorphosis where you're finding more mental illness, and people are doing things because they have no real source to go to try to find answers. A lot of people are leaving the world of religious, organized religion, and they're in search of something that they can count on. That's definitely want to bring it. Count on that they can count on to help them to make it through. Take it out of the group and go into individual, because it's about the elevation of the individual. So we're going to come on today and show them why, first and foremost, that every family at this tasting time needs somebody in that family that understands the concept of divination, how to communicate with our ancestors to get answers. The young man today was almost to the point of, I guess, suicide in my book, because he couldn't get answers from nobody. He'd been to a bunch of babalaos and preachers and things and couldn't get no answer. And after we talked for about an hour and 15 minutes, he was able to see things and calm down and address. What is the most important thing in an individual's life? Peace of mind, being able to deal with your life and the things you encounter. What do I use to do that? Well, we were taught men ought to always pray and not faint. But there is a system that was given us by our ancestors that goes back hundreds of thousands of years that they use to solve the differences. Somebody asked the question, well, if the God was so powerful, the African God was so powerful, why did we go into slavery? Well, then you have to ask the white family, why did they God let them go into slavery? Because there's a book was written by Michael Huffman II, said they were white and they were slaves. So slavery wasn't only among our people, it was among the Irish and the Celtic people as well. And every nation have gone through a era of what they call servitude or slavery, and they all had gods. Some said, well, because of our disobedience. Disobedience? What did we do? And that's why we have to find out, when you're talking about the word slave, it comes the word Slav. And that deals with a people that's in servitude. It's not a culture, it's a situation or a time that you go through. And in it, a lot of people evolve. A lot of, so to me, from life experience, I've been through most of the mainline religions. I went to the school to study theology, which means theology means the study of Greek gods, where theme is a Greek god. And then I went into divinity school to understand spirituality. And this is why I came to love IFA, because I've seen many similarities in most so-called man-structured religion that had to have a taste of this in it to give some validity to it. So in doing so, it taught me how to deal with my family and family problems. My children know what when something go wrong, let's go to dad and see what dad can do and let him contact the ancestors. Because there was a system that they created, a binary system, an algorithm that we could communicate with our ancestors on the other side. And that I found it to be the system of IFA. I'm not saying right or wrong. All I say, it works for me, and those that I've taught these 50 odd years, it has worked for them. And those that come in contact with it that I've taught has worked for them. And the whole key now is learning how to deal with your daily situation, where it requires a choice of right or wrong, or should I not? Where do I get my answer? Well, a person of religion said, well, I will pray and ask for God for the answer. But how you know that when you pray that you get the answer? You need a right now answer. So I'll go back and tell them the story of David and how he used the ephod or the Urim theorem to give answers the same way that the God of the Hebrews gave them the tool. He could have told them go to the priest and pray, but every deity told their folks. Some use Sanskrit, some use Urim theorem, some use different techniques to get there, but it's always a way to communicate with the other side. And that's what I say to E5. And when you look up the history of it, our ancestors always had a system in place to communicate with our ancestors, be it through medium, be it through oracles. You know, we always had a way to reach and talk, even though we was told not to, but everybody do it. You know, even in Christianity, you pray to a man, to a deity that's hung on a cross. You say that this man going to save you. You got one to go to the Kaaba and they pray to a black stone. You got everybody have something they go to. So why not be able to go to somebody in the family that has spiritual knowledge? I'm 79 years old. Many back in the 60s and 70s, there was a group called spiritualists. They wore a lot of white, and they was called fortune tellers and this and that. But they was permanent in our community, and they would always be able to help you with your spiritual journey of your physical need. Same thing in the movie Sinners. Everything I've ever seen that where they brought in somebody had to have a divine connection to that. Even in Predator, you had to have somebody had to be able to divine with the bones, the shells, or whatever to communicate with the other side. Just praying, your words was not, because in order for your prayer, you have to reach a certain qualification to get through that veil, to get through that vortex, through that portal to communicate with the other side. Here, IFA teaches us a method that's instant, right now, get the job done. You know, it even tells you, and in the book, IFA in the complete work of Orunmila, it tells you in the introduction about this thing, the philosophy, the facade, how it was hid, and for long it was an oral tradition, and it has this myth and full things. But in the myth, it explains you life lessons and how to deal with it. If I talk too fast, please forgive me. But most folks just trying to challenge a question with a question, and until you've had life experiences, do we run into. And I appreciate my brother who wanted me to come on and talk about IFA. So to me, one of the most important thing in the black family today, with all the chaos and confusion in our children, we need a system that we can go to and contact and work with our ancestors. Among the Hispanic, they got a day called the Day of the Dead. They celebrate and they go out there. We got a day we call Black History Month in February, but we should be able to do this on a daily basis when we got problems. Is there any questions so far?
I also wanted to to show E5 as a database, you know, to break down the mathematics. Let's go in here. E5 divination is a complex system of divination originating from the Yoruba people of Nigeria, a widely practiced throughout the African diaspora. It involves a diviner known as a Babalawo who interprets a literary corpus of verses and mathematical formulas to guide individuals or groups in making important decisions. IFA is not based on spirit mediumship. That's the biggest thing I want people to know, because people will say, I want to go into that, but rather a structured system of signs and interpretation. Let's go into that, because people will think that you are communicating with a spirit or like some kind of like ancestor, but no, it's a number comes out, the story comes out, you tell the story lines up, you know. So look, can we go into that?
I'll be right back.
And I just wanted to like really make that plain, is that it's not a matter of that the spirit is telling me this, the spirit's telling me that. When you go to a Babalawo, there's no spirit telling the Babalawo anything. What's happening is as you can see right here, what I was showing here, when I was showing the Odu. Okay, first let me go back. Let me go into the actual database of numbers. But let me just show this. Hold on. The 256. So there's 16 minor Odu, or major Odu, and 256 minor Odu, right? And actually, when you thought about computers when they first started out, you had 256 megabytes and stuff like that. So this was the computer of the ancient times. There was no computer. There was no search engines. The Babalawo was the search engine. Before you had AI, you would go to the Babalawo, ask the Babalawo a question. The Babalawo would come with a number. That number associates with a pataki, a story. So let me go into the actual. Let me just like name a few of the Odus so you could get an idea. Hold on, I had the Odus. Let's go into the Odus. So this is not like so here are like just the idea of some of the parables. So Agbe, the supporter, is the manifestation of pure light, is the expansion of light from source outward in practical terms. So Agbe is the first Odu. So this is how things come into existence, right? It is movement without opposition or open road, okay? Agbe, as an expression of spiritual growth, represents perfect alignment with destiny. Ifa teaches that every person chooses a destiny before returning to earth in the cycle of reincarnation. Atumwa, Ifa teaches that if a person lives in harmony with their destiny, nature will provide a blessing of long life, abundance, and family. Failure to live in harmony with destiny generates illness, poverty, and isolation. Ifa teaches that if a person is unsure about their destiny, they should live in alignment with the principle of good character, because everyone is believed to be inherently good. When a person is in perfect alignment with their destiny, the most imminent problem is possibly of moving out of alignment. When Agbe appears, it brings an admonition to remain vigilant in the process of manifesting good character. The negative manifestation of Agbe in personal terms is arrogance. So what happens is that you get a reading and say Agbe comes out, and that is 2 lines. So you have 1 and you have 2, right? So Agbe is 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2 going down, like in like a let's see, let me show you Agbe, just so you guys get an understanding of how the system works. Agbe Meiji, right? So, or Eji Agbe, that's what it's called, right? So let's get a picture of it. So, I'm sorry, 1 1. I'm sorry, my bad. Eji Agbe is 1 1 1 1 1 1. So Agbe is 1 1 1 going down. Oyeku is 2 2 2 2 going down, right? So when the Babalao throws the chain, you get 1 or you get 2. You get a combination of variables based on what they throw. Based on that, then you have like this outcome, whether it be Agbe, Oyeku, or whatever. So 1 is life, the supporter. 1 could be that you are going into a spirit of darkness or change or whatever. So death in Ifa does not necessarily mean just end a cycle, but it also means, well, not end of your life, but end of a cycle. So therefore, you might be going through something, and it might be like, okay, that's the end of that thing, and now you're on to something different. So Oyeku, the mother of the spirit of death, is a elision of praise Oyeye Iku, meaning spirit of the mother of death. In simple terms, Oyeko is darkness, the complete contraction of matter into what physics calls as a black hole. In human terms, this can mean physical death. More commonly, it refers to the end of a cycle. When a baby is born, there's an end of a cycle of living in the womb. When a teenager becomes an adult, there's an end of a cycle of dependency on the parents. In Ifa, the end of life on earth marks the beginning of life in the realm of ancestors, Orun. Yoruba word for black is dudu, and is associated with Oyeku as a symbol of invisible dimension, the source of creation. Oyeku is the end of cycle can bring a blessing of peace. In its negative manifestation, Oyeku represents premature ending of cycle that may not result in full maturity or benefit. So, okay, when you break this down, right, get a reading, Agbe comes out. If you're in alignment, that means you're doing good, whatever. If you're not, that means you might be a little bit arrogant. You might be like not doing what you're supposed to do. Okay. Oyeko means, hey, doing good. It might be, hey, it's just the end of this cycle. You're about to like go to another cycle. You might be going from one part of your life to another. In what they would call, like, if you're out of balance, because it's called imbalance or out of balance, that might be that you might be close to like experience some kind of a worse in the cycle, which might be that illness, something like that. So this is a whole thing, is a system of diagnosis of a problem, figuring out what's wrong, and how, and then on top of that, after that, then you get like like some kind of a prescription that says, okay, well, if you are going to either to maintain equilibrium or to get you out of what we call osogbo, which is might be, bad, out of balance. So either you're in balance or you're out of balance. So that is exactly what Ifa is. It's weight. You cannot like think in your mind of Ifa the same way you think of Christianity or any like Abrahamic faith. This go ahead, yeah.
I'm just opening straight, and that's where we come into conflict with things, because they want to make it like any other religion, when Ifa is not a religion. It's a way of life and a spiritual elevation to help us to understand our journey in this realm, to make our journey more in alignment with purpose and destiny. And that's what's wrong with a lot of folks today. And why I came to it, my testimony, when I left the mainline religion, and as a pastor, and I want y'all to know I was doing pretty good financially, you understand? But when I gave that up for spiritual enrichment, I learned a lot of things about life and how to pursue certain things. And then I learned how to do this thing called divination. Though a lot of things said it ain't, I kept finding it. When I studied with the Muslim, they call a thing called Sanskrit. Their divination is called Sanskrit. Then one group, they had this, they had that. But it all comes down to thing, being able to communicate with the source to get answers. So after being in it some 50 plus years now, and I'm still doing it, my children understand it. Now, all my children do not follow the practice. When they got problems, they call on dad. I am the priest of the family. Right now, I've got my baby boy and my one of my oldest grandsons is in the process of studying the art, because when my time comes to transition, someone has got to be in the family, one of the males or females, that when the family is having problems, they can go through and we can give them the formula and the remedy. And as Sister Monica was saying, and a lot of folks don't realize that it's a lot of parables and things or keys in the Bible. And I use it because why the Bible? Because that is one of the most popular books in society today. And it's most read but less understood. And in it, I showed people, and I'm so thankful. I am so thankful that I had a chance to study with those people that was the orchestrated and authors behind the book. I don't know of no person of color that ever wrote the book of Genesis, authored the book of Deuteronomy. It's always been called Judeo-Christian or the Jewish thing. And I would go to the priesthood, and ask them questions. That's why I found out it's best to understand biblical history as opposed to legends and et cetera, et cetera. And as I studied, I found out that the Jewish people, which you can't write their name in the language, only studies 24 books. Everybody that's got all these other books and understand nothing. So when I asked them why is the book of Proverbs, Psalm, and Job in the section of the Bible called poetry, why is it there? He said those books came out of a thing called the numbers and the letters, which is used in the occult. I said, the occult in the Bible? He said, yes. And what I found out, my beloved sister, I love that name. And you're a good host. I promise you. I like the energy how you stepped in and handled your business. In the book of Psalms 119, that is the book of spell breaking or binding. What? So if someone had a full hard copy, you might can put up online. You need a full copy because, but now it gives you that, but actually the book, Psalms 119, if you can pull up a literary page, there are alphabets that are signed. It just gave you the answer right there. Go back. There is 8 verses per each letter. It's only 8 verses per letter. And when a situation comes and they divine, they're olive. That's one. Okay, let's go. Olive. And when you read, go back. You just hit it on the head. Olive. When that come up in a reading, it says, "Blessed are the undefiled in the way who walk in the law of the Lord." It goes deeper. That is like a key. When that come up, it tells you. Then it says, "Blessed are they that keep his testimony, that seeketh with what? Seeking him with his whole heart. They also do no iniquity, and they walk in his ways." We talk about being in perfect. That's almost like Akbay, walking in alignment with your destiny and your purpose.
I left, and that was that's the first psalm. So there is some level of like like connection that even within like the Torah that is in alignment with Ifa if you know how to
understand the lettering. And they taught me that. Go to the next letter. Go to bed. Because the next one, go to bed.
Hold on, I gotta find the one that's showing all the numbers. I think I had the NIV up first. And then
you want the King James and you want
right, so Aleph, Bet.
The next one we Bet. Bet 9. How can a young person stay on the path of purity? By living according with what? Your word. That's about integrity. You see my point I'm making?
Yeah.
See, and
it's A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? Okay. And the only difference is that, hey, if someone throws something out and it comes up Aleph,
when they read it, or Aleph or Bet, let's go to the next one. I'm gonna give about 5 of them right quick.
Gimel.
It says, "Be good to your servant while I live, that I may obey your word. Open your eyes that I may see." It's a request to be in alignment with balance. It says that I'm a stranger on the earth. Okay, do not hide your what? He's talking about the Creator. Don't hide your instruction from me, that I may live by your law. And rebuke what? Arrogance. Who are accursed those who stay from. All right, go to the next one. Remove me from the scorn. Dalit. That means door. I am laid low in the dust. And it's 8 verses per letter. It's 22 letters in that. These 22 letters is tied to the 22 chromosomes in the body. Well, and in the book Cosmic Creation by Zacharias, he breaks each one of them down and says, and this is the law that was given to Moses. I ain't never heard no Hebrew Israelite talk about this particular law. But it's all following the same thing that Ifa do. Go to the next one. Go to the next one. That's David. What's the next one? He. Now, this is written in Babylonian script because in the answer, teach me, Lord, thy ways of your decree, and that I may follow it to the end. It's about obedience. Give understanding so that I may keep your law and obey it within. What law? Laws of the universe. We break these laws. We break the laws of nature daily. We eat food out of season. We break season and we want blessings. Everything must be done within this season. Ifa teaches that. That's why we contact Osane. Osane is the herb, Orisha, that governs the herbs and the various seeds that we need. So why, matter of fact, in the scripture, in the New Testament, we call him Yahshua, what we call, told the folks, always pray to the God of harvest. The God of harvest is in the scripture. When you pray, you promote agriculture, pray to the God of harvest.
Can we bring that up? The God of harvest, but I'm not gonna lose. I'm not gonna lose that spot. So
yeah, you know it says in that it says, pray to the God of harvest found in the Bible. Let's type that in and see if we can get a read on it. Everything is relatable if we take our head out the sky and come down to common sense. We got all emotional, and when that comes, we can't think. I learned a long time ago. A lot of folks here to argue. I listen to learn. When you speak and listen, I might not agree, but we can agree to disagree. But if it's in your face,
yeah. So that's in Matthew 9:38. Pray ye therefore the Lord of harvest that he will send forth laborers into his harvest.
Yeah, come on now. So I pray to the Lord of harvest in what? Charge of the harvest. I ask to send more workers into the field. So you say you need help, then you got to pray to the God of harvest. You want your crop to be right? Pray to the God of harvest. But I thought we all had one. And here's another clicker. People don't realize that Yahweh or Yahweh was a mountain deity. a mountain deity. You got deities of the desert, deities of the water, and so forth and so on. Now, I asked the question of the, where did God come from? What did the Bible say God came from? Habakkuk 3:3, Sister Monica, in the Bible. Because I'm going to write this book. Of Habakkuk 3:3. Not near Habakkuk. There it is, 3:3. You're in NIV, but it's going to read a little different.
Now I'll switch it over.
Okay. God came from Tema, and the Holy One came from Mount Paran. Switch it over to the KJV. God came from Tema, and the Holy One from Mount Paran, Selah. His glory covered the heavens, and the earth was full of his praise. Where is Tema? And where's Mount Paran? Well, if you go to Deuteronomy 33, verse 1, watch this. Deuteronomy 33rd chapter. Verse 1, King James, and it reads, and this is the blessing wherewith Moses, the man of God, blessed the children of Israel. Next verse, before his death. Next verse, watch this. And he said, the Lord came from Sinai and rose up from Seir unto them. And he shined forth from what? Mount Paran. And he came with 10,000 saints from his right hand, with which the fiery law came. Now, where is Mount Paran? It told you came from Tema, so Tema must be in that area. And it goes on further to say, then it says, and yet he loved the people. Then they talk about another nation called Jeshurun. Here we go right in. Whoa, right there. And he was king and go back. He was king in Jeshurun when the heads of, well, you got to slow down here. Now, Jeshurun is supposed to be the righteous name. So now, if Moses was the king of Jeshurun, how could he be the king of Israel when the king of Israel, first king of Israel was Herod? This is a whole other nation. Look at Deuteronomy 33:26. Said there is no God like the God of Yeshurun. 33:6. 26, 30, 26, go up. There is no God like to the God of Yeshurun, who rideth on the heavens in his health and in his excellence over the sky. Bam. Psalm 68:4. He said, call my name. He didn't say Yahweh. To call my name, Yah. Psalm 68:4. Go there. Psalms 68, verse 68, verse 4. Now look, and look at the description. Look at the description. Sing unto God, sing praise unto his name, extol him that ride up on the hill by the name of what? Not Jah, because ain't no J in the language. Yah, and rejoice. There is no J in the Hebrew language. So that's it, but it is Yah. And rejoice before him. Sing unto God, sing praise to his name, extol him that ride upon the heavens by his name. That's the same word you read in 33:26. And what was his name? Yah. Because there is no J in the Hebrew language. All Greek, there are no J's. We got Yehovah, Yahakawa, and all this other stuff. It says, extol me by my name. And this is what we did to King David, how to approach God by this name. What I got to do with IFA is that you go back and look at all of this and carry it to its origin. A lot of this comes out of the IJ. It comes out of the language. So we get in disputes over other men, and then we don't want to do the research because we want to stand on the rock that I know. I know nothing except what is revealed, and that was revealed is revealed through the oracles. What is the oracles? You know,
In
woo,
Yoruba culture, IJ is not just about material wealth, but also divine force that governs trade, enterprise, and abundance. It's a concept that is deeply intertwined with spirituality.
spiritual and economic activity.
IJ is also recognized as an Orisha deity in Yoruba spirituality, often associated with the goddess of the sea, Olokun, who embodies the mysteries and riches of the ocean. Prayers and rituals are performed to IJ for blessings of wealth and prosperity.
Yeah.
And then they go into
Iyami. You know, so we have a lot to learn and a lot we need to understand and learn. But I want to appreciate, and I would love to come and just take this really to an elementary level, step by step, and show the importance of having it. Even if you want to practice a twofold concept of spirituality, if you want to, it can all be brought to a blend to give you what you need. There's no argument. We don't argue about other religions. That's a choice you make. But if you want to grow, if you want to elevate yourself and grow spiritually, then IFA is the way to go. If you want to practice a lot of other things and you want to go out and shoot firecrackers and kill half a dozen goats and 34 chickens and 11,000 dozen eggs and all that stuff, that's your choice. But when it comes to spiritual elevation, IFA is the most best formula to use to elevate your family and get answers to your situation in your life rather than going through a lot of other unnecessary changes. You get direct answers. We're in a time now where we need direct, instant answers. We ain't got time to wait for the thunder, the lightning, the lightning flash, and the thunder, the roar, and the rain come down. We need some. When you go into a situation of life and death, you need an answer right then. And I guarantee you, if you divine and understand the binary algorithm system, you will get your answer. And if you act on it, I'm assured that it will come through. I had a live experience a couple of weeks ago, and if I had already told me what was about to happen, I'm getting this unction from the spirit because many times Oruma will speak to his devotees in dreams and in visions. It's not always through the divination, because if you're not, it will speak to you in your inner consciousness. And it told me, if you don't take care of this, you won't make it past your earth rise. I acted around and was going to try to get past it. I wound up going to the hospital early Monday morning. I got where I couldn't hardly breathe. When I got to the hospital, they rushed me to the hospital. They pulled off 2.5 gallons of water off my lung and heart, off my lungs. Had I listened to E5 at first, I could have dodged that. But being hard-headed, you know, being a man, don't want to go to the doctor, don't want to get checked up, walking death.
So could that be the reason why we probably got caught up? That they caught that, you know, because he did. So let's go back to the original question. So if we had this system to teach us what would happen, right? Yeah. Why did we end up in slavery? If this system is so powerful, why did we end up? So go ahead.
The reason is because of being disobedient to the rules and the guidelines of the rules and laws of nature. That's why. And every nation have been in some form of servitude or slavery on this planet. That's the documented fact.
And is it because of disobedience in some level?
It's a level of disobedience of failing to adhere to your purpose and being, because when everybody leave, you came in the world with an assignment and a purpose. When you do not do that, then everything goes out of balance. And not only that, like I told the guy today, there are many things on this planet, because the earth is a school. This place you call the earth on this planet, the 12th star. Many of us came from the 13th and 14th star. The 14th star is the place called Nibiru, a planet called Nibiru. That's what the Dogon saw. And this is the 13 because everything operates on the number 13 in this realm. A lot of folks don't even know that. That's why we got 13 constellations, not 12. And we've been out of balance ever since the so-called Greeks them went in and changed the format from from 13 to 12 because they couldn't deal with that feminine energy. And they began to become sun worshippers. When the book tell you it ain't the sun, it's the moon. Psalms 104 verse 19 says that 104 verse 19 says that the moon is for season and the sun is for setting. I believe that's right.
What was it? What was it? What song? What was it?
Verse I think 19. Let's go there.
Which one? 104.
Yeah, Psalms 104, because that's the book you look into. And I think you want to look at verse 19. I follow the book, but I understand the book is for reference. There it is. He appointed the moon for what seasons? The sun knoweth it's going down. The sun has no instruction but no go up and down. But and the moon is for seasons. So you should govern things by the moon. Even our calendar that you're following, it was designed by the African sisters, and we've had it before over there in the caves over there in the Lobombo cave 43,000 years ago, based off the moon and the menstrual cycle. Even our scene is based off the moon and its cycle and its movements. IFA teaches us that. IFA teaches us this. Then you can always double check it for check and balance.
So let's go into this, the 16 truths of IFA. For those that might be confused about what IFA is.
Here we go. There is a singular creator, not God creator. There is no devil. I like this third one, except for the day you were born and the day you are supposed to die. Not die, supposed to. There is no single event in your life that cannot be forecast by IFA, and when necessary, change. It is your birthright to be happy, successful, and fulfilled. You should grow and obtain wisdom during the process of life. You are reborn through your blood relatives. Heaven or room is home, and earth is the mark. And I'm saying the earth is the marketplace, and every entity and every other galaxy comes here to the marketplace to either get minerals or things or get stuff it needs. We are in a constant passage between the two. You are part of the universe in a literal and not a figurative way. You must never initiate harm to any other human being. You must never harm the universe of which you are part of. 11. Come on up, 11. There you go. Your temporal and spiritual capacity must work together. You are born with a specific path. It is your goal to travel it. Divination provides the roadmap. Our ancestors exist and must be honored, and they exist where they exist in us. It says sacrifice guarantee success, and that can come in many forms. Orisha live within us, and you have no need of fear. Those are the 16 truths. Like you got your 10 commandments, well, those are your 16 truths. But we don't want to do that because it's too simple and too easy. We make things hard, so it make us feel better about ourselves. That is not the name of the game.
And I do want to go into this because people think that IFA is voodoo, that we do things against people. No, any person that really practices IFA,
we don't do that.
Yeah,
you said it. Come on, say it. We don't do that. So you can't say that because we're not trying. Look, we're so busy trying to elevate ourselves. We ain't got time to worry about your stuff. This is what draws me to IFA. And what it did, it taught us.
Now, Ospie said something. He said number 9 is the key why they took us into slavery. Because he says that's the reason why we became slaves, because in our tradition, we don't believe that we should initiate harm. So But is there a part of right? So how could we fight back if we don't believe that we should harm anyone?
Only the thing about it, then when you're being attacked, you have the right to defend what you have, but you don't go out and initiate things. And a lot of times we find out a lot of these things are carry overs from past lives. We have people carry over grudges things because of petty stuff. Even in everyday life, you got people now won't speak all because you borrowed my earring and you can give them back to me 30 years ago. Well, she took my husband. I ain't gonna do that. And then he done married somebody else. You married, but you holding a grudge against that person. Another thing is, and I want to go here. Everything on this planet is not kin. We have a natural enemy. Everything in society and earth has a natural enemy. It's just the way it is. That's the way it's gonna be. So everybody you see, even though they may look like you, they could be a natural enemy through nature. The mongoose and the snake ain't got no business hanging out together because they're what? They're unnaturally foes. You see what I'm saying? Think about it. Everything in the earth has a negative or have a foe that exists that make it cause it to exist. Priscilla Bagby. Yes, I got to call her back. Maybe that don't make sense. Well, ain't we all human beings? Excuse my French. Hell no. The word human being, if you look the etymology up, that's something you really don't want to deal with. But we are spiritual beings, supreme beings among a world of only the creator know what is. And the odd thing is this. If I went to the Bible and I think it's Genesis 6. Genesis 6. Go there for a second. I'm gonna show you something. Why you use about? Because this is the book people believe in. They'll fight you tooth and nail behind, but they don't understand none of it. And I heard the brother mention the pseudepigrapha. I have pseudepigrapha 1 and 2 volume on my shelf. I can go through the whole. I got the thesis and prophecies of Shem, where it already predicted what's going to happen from last year to this year. What we're going through now, it's already in prediction, and it's already active. But let's go there, Genesis chapter 6, and I want to show you something. It came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and the daughters of men were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took to them wives of all they what? Chose. And the Lord said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for that is also his flesh. Yet his days shall be 120. Now, who is these beings that come and had babies by the daughters of men, and they wasn't angels, because angels ain't supposed to have, androgynous can't have babies. So who was these giants? And God saw the wickedness of man grew in the earth, and they were what? In their very imagination, and the thought of his heart was only evil continuously. It repented the Lord that he even made man on earth and grieved him at his heart. Only thing he repented that we were so submissive to the other beings. The Lord said, I will destroy man whom I created. In other words, stop right there. The Lord said, I will destroy man whom I created. The Lord didn't create everything. It's on the earth. That's why he could only destroy what he created, because he couldn't destroy another man, another entity's stuff. He said, and these are the generations of Noah. Noah was
wait, and now I think about, hold on, wait, go back, hold on now, wait. So there was beings already here.
Yeah.
Like, hold on. Wait, and the Lord said, okay, hold on. So hold on. And it came to pass when men began to multiply, daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, and the Lord said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that. And when the sons of God came unto the daughters of men, so were the sons of God the giants? Because I'm like, what?
These were your Anakims and your Anunnakis. These are the deals everybody talk about that were giants that they're finding remains of. These are the sons of God, not God, but the gods. They left that part off. And they had daughters, they had children by it, and these children became giants among, and keep reading. Look what happened.
God saw that the wickedness of men was great in the earth.
And that it, okay, but keep on going, there's some more to it. And the Lord said, I will destroy
that every imagination of thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And he repented the Lord that he had made man on earth, and it grieved him in his heart. Okay, and Lord said, I will destroy man whom I've created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping thing in the fowls of the air, for repent of me that I've made them.
Now in the King James they talk about, and these men became mighty men among men. These giants became mighty men among giants. So if you go to the KJV, it's a part that they left out of the NIV. These men became giants, came King James 6, it says multiplied in the earth, and these men became mighty men in the earth. Yeah.
So that they were there in the day that they created man and the woman.
So
and you know after
that. Now, how many men and women in the world, all these giants gonna have babies by them? Now, if it's only Adam and Eve, and you know they had sons, where did the daughters come from? And they saw that these children in the earth girl was beautiful, and they went and had children, and both children by them. The same became, yeah, there it is, and the same became mighty men, which of old men of renown. Right there, verse 4. Go back verse 4 and read it, Monica. Verse 4.
And there were giants on earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, they same became mighty men, which are old men of renown.
Renown. What's going to do with that? Same thing, you go back and you deal with the story of Canaan. What about the story of Osiris and Set?
So Paul Gilmore said, is this Bible study or understanding of Ifa?
It's the understanding of Ifa in relationship to things that people deal with. Because people tend to want to put the Bible out there. Ifa showing you I'm showing you a lot of the similarities. It's not Bible study. It's what people base their life on. And we showed them that many things you're looking at, there are answers to this thing in Ifa. So because we use the Bible, because how many folks in their home have an Ifa Bible? But they got a King James, they got an NIV. And you get the Bible quoted more than any book out there, less understood. That's why I use, because I gotta go where people are to get them where they need to go.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we use it. Like anything else, when you go to court, the judge uses a book called Black's Law Dictionary to determine what the case and what the outcome of the case should be. No, this is not Bible study. It's Bible reference. To show you that how far we are believing in a book that we have less knowledge of and understand the origin, the place, and its purpose. We're talking about spiritual growth and elevation.
Why is it that people have a hard time that you're bringing it with the Bible study? Why is that like a thing?
Because either some can't deal with it or they don't want to deal with it. This is no fact, just fact. I've been in this stuff way too long. When I debated the Muslims, when I did debate the Church of Christ, we dated other groups. They want to know, well, if you don't, not that I don't believe in it, it just it has such an impact and energy in the world that most folk gonna challenge you, and everything, and a lot of your laws is based off of this book. When it comes to things like homosexuality, this, that, and the other, the book is over 2,000 years old. Yet people yet still base their life off of it, and you're waiting on somebody to come back and save you when the book says you got to save yourself?
Go into where it says you gotta save yourself.
Acts
Where
2
is
and
that?
40. Ain't gotta look. Acts 2 and 40, day of Pentecost. The book says you gotta save yourself, you know. And I know no one religion is based off of Acts 2:38 in the book, Acts 2 and 40. Bam. Click it. And with many others saying, did he testify, exhort, and said, save yourself from this untoward generation. That is Paul in the upper room on the day of Pentecost. And just before that, he said, you got to be baptized in the name of Jesus for remission of your sins. Whoa. Then you're trying to tell me that I must save myself? Then how do I save myself? You see it, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
And with many other sins, did he testify? Who was this Paul exhorting, saying, save yourself from this unward generation?
So I know people are wanting to hear more about IFA. So I wanted to like get into IFA. I mean the Orishas, because I think people want to know about the Orisha.
Okay, we'll get into that. But IFA, first and foremost, you have to understand what IFA is, what IFA is not. You know, let's get rid of that. First of all, it's not medium, it's not tarot card, it's none of that. It ain't fortune telling. IFA is a system of a binary system to help you understand how to reach to the celestial side, the consciousness of the other side. IFA is a communication device, the same as your telephone, the same as computers, because it is based off of IFA. IFA is a tool to unify us in a world that we have little knowledge of to explain it, and it's all in.
And let me. I'm going to show you what. So let me go into the calabash. Let's go into this. Let's see.
Go to the calabash.
Right. So this is the divinate. This is the tool. So before there were search engines, before there was the computer,
yep, this is it.
Babylon would. This is the thing. You know.
All the Christians inside the calabash. Okay, let's go.
Everything is inside the calabash. This is one of my favorite ways of describing the cosmogenesis, cosmogeography, sociology, and psychology of the IFA worldview or perspective. It is not dualistic or dichotomous. Instead, everything contained within a unified perspective of which the calabash sphere, right? And so, you got these people talking about the flat earth, right?
Yeah. But it represents the dinosphere, okay?
Right. The sphere is an appropriate representation. It's a multidimensional, all-inclusive sphere that contains and sustains a multi-tiered universe, macrocosmically and microcosmically.
Yeah.
So everything happening to you affects what's going on outside. Everything happening outside affects you.
Yeah, that's it.
We are a part of the universe in a literal form. So, and then when I showed you the 16 truths of IFA, right? It says that you are a part of the universe in a literal,
and not figurative way.
Not figuratively. So that means that everything that happens to you, so you create what happens to you.
Your reality, right? You created your thoughts, your actions, your world.
Is it saying that you are the main character?
You are the main character on the stage of life, because when you came with a script from the dinosphere to come to make the world a better place. And if you have not done that, then you got to go and come back again till you get it right. That's why it's called Untunowa, a reincarnation.
So you know how they talk about, like, when you pass, like, not to like go and you see that light at the end of the tunnel, not to go to the light.
That's spookism. That's spookism. And I'm like my boy 607. That's spookism. But you got to go back to real life, because there are those that ain't seen no light. That's been today ain't seen no light. But one thing you do know, that energy is neither created or not destroyed. It continues on at another vibration. But how well do you know your vibration, your frequency, your binary code? Your biorhythm. Yeah.
The main thing is that, except for the day you were born, the day you're supposed to pass on, there's no single event in your life that cannot be forecast by IFA, and when necessary,
Yeah.
change. So
And that's
now we're getting into the multiverse. Now we're getting into timeline, right?
right.
So you're walking down one road and you could change it. You don't
It's
have
up
to
to
keep
you.
going down this road.
It's
And
up to
so what
you.
happens is that divination provides a roadmap to say, should I go this way or that way? However, we have been taught that you just pray and ask
I won't
God.
get it.
Going through a bunch of bullshit, you just keep going down this road of bullshit and pray and hope it gets better. But no, that's not how IFA teaches. No, it can change. You don't have to fucking keep going down in suffering. You can change it. You just have to like find out what's down the road and explain the divination process of what's down the road versus and
Guess
how
what?
to change
I thought,
sacrifice.
that's why I say that way it'll tell you how to adjust and fix the break or the hump or the ditch, so you make your way smoother. And the main thing is in order for that time, you must have EYPLA, good character. And if your character's out of balance, know your world will be out of balance because you become arrogant, you become egotistical, narcissistic, and so forth and so on. Not that it don't have its place, but you gotta know how to put everything in its place.
Go into there is no devil.
Okay, the word devil. The word devil does not mean people think it only means adversary. Look the word up, devil. It means adversary. And every day in your life, you have adversaries, and you want to call it Satan, devil, or Lucifer. Those names was tied on through Eurocentric ideology, and they don't mean the same thing. You call it that, but it's not what it is. The word, look up the etymology of the word devil. Please go to number 2. Let's just see. I could be deadly wrong. Don't be nothing I'm saying. See, I could be I lost my feather brain mind. So let's go to the etymology of the word devil. But now if you write it back, what does it say if you spell it backwards? Lived. So let's go to the etymology of the word. Old English related to Dutch. Oh, I'm sorry, go back. Okay. Etymology. I want the etymology of not just the meaning. Give me the etymology of it. Etymology of the word devil. I want the whole thing stuck up in there, sister. Not just the meaning. Go to the etymology. But the word etymology, we know we're looking. We're not looking for the synonym. We're looking for the word, the etymology. But etymology of the word devil. Yeah, I want the whole thing in there. Now give it to me.
The word devil originates from the Old English diaphol,
Mhm.
which is derived from the Latin diabolus, meaning slanderer. In turn, comes from the Greek diabolos, also meaning slanderer, stemming from the word diabolin, which signifies to slander, to accuse. Ultimately, the word root is tied to the idea of one who falsely accuses or speaks ill of others.
Yeah, falsely. Yeah, and that's an adversary. It could be anybody. Ain't nobody no red forky tail. None of that. You know.
And when you say there is none, that means that, what does that mean? When you say there is
Well, when you
no.
say any father, there is none, because when you live in harmony with people, there is no need for them to go out and want to slander and do something has to cause them to want to slander. Not that they won't come, but now in that it means because when they went out to find out if that in the Christian thing they had to find a devil or something, an evil side. There is no evil side when it comes to evil. Everything has to be addressed. When you address it, you find out its main purpose and why it is there. Iyami, witches, evil. That's not what it means. There's a challenge. The devil challenges. It tests your character. Or issue is the devil. No. Issue is known as the master teacher, and it teaches you how to build character. It challenges your word. It challenges your integrity. It challenges you in all points because that's where it's designed to do. So the question is then, a lot of people getting that. What I got Elegba. Elegba is only one of the attributes of issue. There's 21 paths of issue, and they're not all the same. It depends on what path you step on. And when you get initiated, What issue comes out in your reading? Mine came out issue Odara. Issue Odara. Okay.
Mine was issue Baba what was it Baby Lecon. So I have like a child like issue like a
See, so
child.
so it depends. So and that issue depends on how it builds your character. Now, Eleba is a child, also a part of the one of the one of the qualities of issue, but it's not the whole thing. He's called the trickster. You can't put that whole package on all the issues because all the issues is not about the trickster. Each one has a purpose, and everything coming to world have a specific purpose and assignment. Same thing with these images we call issue or elegba. And there's 21 of them, according to the teachings. There is no devil. That word devil, that means that there is no negativity that we could call, that we can lay our problems to. Everything falls on us. Man, the devil
Right.
may be.
The devil, what Erica Badu said, the mothership can't save you, so your ass gonna get left. So bottom line is, ain't nobody to blame it on. It's you.
And when it says you must save yourself from the untoward generation, ain't that about the same thing?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go through this, and then we're gonna end it on that 16th one because
except for the day when you were born and the day you are supposed to die, there is no single event in your life that cannot be forecast by IFA, binary system of the that is necessary. When necessary can change. So when it becomes necessary to make an adjustment to grow up, IFA will tell you it's time to move to the next level. You need to quit doing this and do this. And it comes through the reading and through the through the Proverbs, for those who understand Patrick keys, through the Proverbs, what to do. Like we said a while ago on the olive, blessed is the man that walketh in righteousness. Well, it is. You know, it is your birthright to be happy and successful. It is. But if you choose not to, it's still your choice. It is your birthright to be happy. But if you let yourself get bogged down, become the garbage can of the world, and want to worry about everybody's stuff but yours, that's your choice. You should grow and obtain wisdom during the process of life. Life is a school, and it's about learning life lessons that you can grow up. Growth means to mature, You are reborn through your blood relatives. Because now here's the kicker. Here is the kicker. How old is the blood in your body as opposed to your age? The question is, you may be 50, but how old is the blood in your system? You may be 79 like me, but how old is the blood? How I can take my blood and go back thousands of years to my blood relatives, but I'm not no 1,000-year-old. How they can take my blood and understand everything that went on in my family, every disease, everything through my blood, through Dana, my bloodline. Heaven, Orun is home, and earth is the marketplace. And that's the key word. The earth is what? The marketplace. Everything in the galaxy tends to come here for education, growth, or development. It comes to this place.
And when you graduate, you move on to the next level, right? Is that what it is?
It's saying you can talk.
So Earth is not necessarily like the final destination. It's just one on.
Even the old folks said that it's on. Earth is not. I'm a pilgrim in this strange land. I'm a pilgrim. They sung the song. I'm a pilgrim and a stranger in this barren land. Earth is not my home. They sung that years ago in the church. You are part of the universe and a literal and not physical. That's right, because everything that's in the universe is within our structure, within our molecules, atoms, and things that exist in our body. So we are connected. No matter what.
Someone said we're made of stardust. Someone told me that we're made of stardust.
You can call it stardust, whatever. But ain't it odd that when the moon moves the tides in the water, it also moves up. It moves in us in our character. It plays, like you said, man, a full moon. On a full moon, folks go crazy because the tide is coming in. All the sun will make your butt sweat, but the moon deals with your character and your inner nature.
I know when it rains, I get tired.
Baby, you want to go lay down and listen to the rain. Well, I got a 20 gauge roof on my house. I love it. When the rain starts playing on the roof, I crawl up on my recliner, and it's la la land. Yeah.
If it's hot outside and it's sunny, you feel more. Yeah, you be like, okay.
Okay. They say you must never initiate harm to another human being, and that's one of the things that people don't realize. I'm not gonna try to find a way to control you and own you and make you this and that and put stuff in your food and all that kind of stuff. You know, take that stuff somewhere else. Because sure you do it, you say it comes back 100-fold when the law of reciprocity come back to your way.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't practice that. You must never attempt to harm the universe of which you are part of. So
hold on, I don't want to get off that real quick because people think that we are practicing voodoo. Well, that's voodoo, right? And the bottom line is that, listen, if I'm living in Iwapale and you attack me, honey, good luck. I don't have to do anything. If I'm living in good character and I'm doing right by everybody and someone initiates harm against me, I don't have to burn a candle. I don't have to do sugarity. Yeah. Listen, it is going to someone, and then people will think that you did something against it. Like, no, I didn't do anything. I was doing the best.
I don't have to, because being a supreme being, the universe will step in and deal with you because there's a thing called the law of reciprocity. And I haven't got to put myself in that situation. If I get out there, I got to deal with it. But I haven't got to go out and do nothing to make you do the right thing. And if you ain't got a conscience, I mean, then you're not shall I say, you have no soul, so you have no conscience. You don't give a damn what you do. No matter what I do, you're not going.
And you know what? That's what they said. So maybe this is the reason why we got enslaved, right? Yeah. Because we had these tenets. You should never initiate harm, right? So we probably allowed ourselves to be. We didn't. We probably gave up willingly because of this is our tenets, right? But we knew that it would come back against them in some way, right? Because we believed in this.
And guess what? What did Malcolm say? And the chickens come to roost. Look at this world. Look at it. Look at it.
So let's go. You must never attempt harm to the universe of which you are part. Let's go into that.
You know, and the thing, guess what? Most of our farmers is always in trouble because they do not follow the seasonal that we used to follow the almanac years ago when we did our farming. Now you eating watermelons out of season, everything. When a thing is out of season, it's in a defense mode. It kicks your butt. All this GMO food we getting and the stuff that ain't, and MSG and all this stuff, nothing is allowed to fulfill its potential. You want to get it too soon. You got eggs, hens ain't never seen a rooster, and we're eating them eggs. Come on, people. Think about it. When things are out of season, the world is out of balance. Okay. Number 10, your temporal spiritual.
Hold on, you see that they're actually attempting to harm the universe because they want to become God, and now they're creating AI and things like this, right? And so now you're seeing other people that are attempting to gain control of this whole thing we call life, and they are suffering the consequences. Let's get into that.
And that's what it says in IFA, that in one of the things it's called the Dianosphere, where that the white man came and saw Olodumare creating a man out of clay and for the big mirror, and he wanted to do the same thing. So Olodumare, understanding that this white man and his thoughts left him in the room by himself to take care of other business, according to the Pastor Key. He said, while he was there figuring it all out, Issue came in dressed as a spiritual policeman and said, "Oh, you can make yours talk. Take it home and let it get dry. It'll speak." Instead of him waiting finished and learned, he jumped ahead to go and try to outdo Olodumare, and it never spoke. And from that day forward, we've been trying to create a species that speak. And I'm going back to the day of a thing called Frankenstein, taking old dead body parts, making a man, creating a monster. And what do we have out there? We got robots. Now we got AI. We got this. But remember, the first artificial person was called Frankenstein. Then we had the test tube baby. Then we have the cloning. Now, then we have sperm banks. Now we got IVF. And the list goes on. And these have
in vitro fertilization. Let's
Yeah,
go into that real quick about the fact. See, this is harming the universe because you're creating beings that were not meant to be here during natural ways, right? So even IVF, people getting in vitro. If you're not meant to have a child, you're doing in vitro. That is an unnatural way of having a child, and these children are born without souls.
That's right. Let me make a run to hold that thought, because in the IFA, the complete work of Ruma, it talks about that.
This is how deep IFA gets into. It talks about things that are happening now, in a way, breaking down even small stuff like how the white man was created, how like we got divided this way, how it got divided that way. Like, so, but like I said, people are saying, oh, well, yeah, through the stories, through the Patakees, which are parables. Like I said, you can't take the story exactly, because if you actually hear a Ifa priest tell the story, they sing the story like a song. Because if you actually hear, and I might even bring up so you can hear the actual Patakees being done in a ceremony, they're done in song format. Because everything is done through vibration. Everything is a vibration. Music has a vibration. All this stuff, and actually, a lot of like the things that are existing in this world were made through a sound vibration. We all are vibrating on a certain sound frequency, but you wouldn't think about that if you only like are going off of just prayer and this, that, the other. You're not going to think about the mathematics and science behind sound, the mathematics and science behind all these different things and how we come into existence, because you're not thinking from a scientific level, because you're going to like look against science. If you are a Christian, you're going to say, well, that's demonic. But in Ifa, we embrace science. We embrace those things. We know that this thing is a scientific mathematics, all of those different aspects of life. We know that that's a part of like the whole universal structure. Even when they tell you who your head Orisha is, it's based on your birth date, when you were born, all that stuff combined with like all these different other aspects. We understand numbers. We understand the lunar calendar. We're not on like the sun calendar. It's a lunar calendar. There's a 16 it's 13 months in the lunar calendar, not 12. Everybody's on the wrong calendar, so you can't be aligned if you're on the wrong calendar. You think you're a Sagittarius, and you might be an Australopithecus, or a whole nother sign that's not even in the calendar that exists in the Greco-Roman understanding of the calendar.
Yeah.
So this is the type of stuff that people don't even realize and understand. And the Yoruba people understood this. African people understood this. But people think that Africans are stupid and don't realize that we had intelligence. We had intelligence. They just made us think that we were slaves. They made us think that we were stupid. But no, we were very high. They turned us into slaves, took our intelligence, and then created their society with it. That's the big part, is that people are missing. They took our divination system, created AI and all these like this whole like system that we're even on right now, and then they want to like and tell us that we're dumb as hell, you know?
Yeah. Here we go. Okay, I'm back. How to make this?
No, we're not ducking smoke. We're giving the information You want to argue each point by point. We're going to give the information. And you can come back up here after we're done, and we can like have a conversation, Neo. No one's ducking anything.
And it says he makes donation for the white man when he was.
Now we done went through the scriptures. We done went through a whole bunch of stuff. We done broke it down scripture by scripture by scripture. The similarities, the how things are broken down, what the issues were, whatever. So if you missed it, you missed it, because I see that you missed it.
Yeah.
So nobody's scared nothing, because we actually went through the scriptures, and then now we're coming back to IFA and what the beliefs are in IFA.
Scared of what?
Thank you.
I mean, if we we're scared of what? And nothing to be scared of. Unless what you got can change the price of tea in China, why should we be scared?
Honey, one of the biggest things in the 16 Truths of IFA is you need to have no fear. So fear is not a part of any practitioner of IFA.
No way.
You don't walk in this world afraid, because you are the author of your entire existence. Everything that happens around you, you created.
Yeah.
Okay, well go back and hit the 2x speed button, and then come back and tell us, because we was breaking down the whole thing. So you can't just come up here and say somebody was trying to hide nothing. No, we broke it down scripturally. We broke it down. We broke all type of stuff down. So go ahead. What were you going to show us, Baba?
This is in the book of Ifa, the works of Ifa. I mean, of Ifa in the work of Rumila. In it, it talks about, if I get it, the making of the white man. It says he made divination for the white man when he was anxious to know how to manifest a living human being. The most important work done in heaven by Otuna Meiji is a revelation of how the white man attempted to learn from Olodumare how to produce a human being. The white man had become vast on the earth in the fields of inventions that he thought he should crown his achievement by going to Olodumare to teach him how to manufacture a human being. When he got to heaven, he approached Awa called J.B. Koshi Gaban. There was no mirror could be wide enough to see the length of the whole world. So it says, I can skip a little because it's just in the other language. The white man was advised to give a he-goat to issue, but he refused to do it because he did not believe in making fetish sacrifice. Without making the sacrifice, he went to the palace of Olodumare and asked to be taught how to produce a human being. Since Olodumare never refused any request made to him, he told the white man to fetch out mud from the works, which he did. Olodumare had his long mirror in his workshop, which he looks at while molding objects. He examined the reflection of the object from the mirror and it must pass it as perfected before confirming it as being fit for existence. When the mud was fetched by the white man, he molded the image of a human being, and the white man watched it. And after molding it, the image that Olodumare left, it dried, meanwhile moving to the inner court chamber to attempt to other works. As soon as Olodumare left, Issue came into the workshop in the shape of a heavenly police and asked the white man whether he could not replicate the image prepared by Olodumare. The visitor confirmed that he could. Issue then told him to leave for home with the image because it would speak after he dried up. With that place of deception device, the white man left with the human being when he, however, got home, the image would not speak after drying up. That's why the white man is unable to cast any speaking images to this day. It was accounted on the count of sacrifice which the white man refused to make. When Otunja Major comes out in a definition, someone anxious to do something he should not be advised to do or exercise the pattern. Other words, he's trying to find a machine that can compete or compare with the Olodumare's creation, and he's been doing it ever since he came to the planet. Name me any other book explains the white man, and it's not as pigmentation, but as a school of thought, as a consciousness that's trying to override the supreme creator. Anybody have an answer? If you look at the nature of that individual under that particular Odu, that's what's there. Temporal and spiritual capacity must work together. And if you look up that Odu, Sister Monica, that's Itare Meiji. That's 1211. 1211 Meiji. 1211. See if we can pull that up and see the alignment.
Itara Meiji.
Yeah.
How do I spell it?
Ita. It might be a little different in the other language.
Is it Otora Meiji or Itara?
It might be Otora Meiji. It'd be 1211. 1211.
Right. In Ifa, Otora Meiji is a significant Odu that emphasizes the importance of fearing God and making sacrifices to Him to achieve leadership and success. It highlights the idea that true power and leadership come from acknowledging a higher power and acting in accordance with divine principles.
That's what he didn't want to do that. He didn't want to do the sacrifice, and he didn't want to follow rules, and he allowed issue to lead him off, you know.
So Otora Meiji success that suggests that individuals who fear God and make necessary sacrifices to Olodu Mare will be successful as leaders. The Odu stresses that importance of recognizing the power greater than oneself and aligning one's actions with divine will. Ignoring these principles and failing to acknowledge God can lead to a failure and downfall.
And that's what he just said. He refused to make the sacrifice, refused to be obedient, and it led to what? Failure and downfall. Now he's still trying to build back. Keep going. What else?
So some religious scholars say Otora is the source of mystic vision and helps individuals align their consciousness with the divine source, defining their sense of destiny and purpose. Okay. So the bottom line is that if you're out of balance, you're going to try to overtake God. If you are on path, then you will recognize that there is a power greater than you.
Read the mystic vision and purpose, please.
Some religious scholars say that Otora is the source of mystic vision and it helps individuals align their consciousness with the divine source, defining their sense of destiny and purpose.
Okay. That's in the book. And these you understand. And how many folks are suffering now to pay because they're trying to outdo, outthink, outcreate the divine essence. No matter what you work with, you cannot get greater than your source. When you want honor, and the odd thing about that is this. Check this out.
He said, so someone says, so we don't need a Babalawo.
Well, really, you don't. But who's gonna teach you like so when you go to school to learn algebra? So you're gonna go to already know somebody has to teach you algebra. So if I don't teach you, how you gonna know? It ain't born in you. Think about it. Everything we got had to be taught to us, even how to walk. Somebody has to take responsibility and teach us how to even see words.
Let me explain something to you. Listen, I'm a priest, right, of E5. Now I used to see a Babalawo. Now that I've become a priest, and now I don't see a Babalawo anymore, unless it's something really extreme. I don't see a Babalawo. I'm my own priest. It's basically understood as a nation of priests. That's the thing about Ifa, is that it is a nation of priests, each person having their own priesthood within themselves and to be able to run their own self. This is not a religion of like, it's a religion of self government. You have to be able to teach yourself. Okay. Even when you go to a Babalawo, the whole time that you're with the Babalawo, if you pay attention, he's teaching you how to do it yourself. You get a reading, he says, go do this. And then you say, oh, okay, so this is what's wrong, go do this, right? So you know from now on, if this is wrong again, go do that. You know, if you pay attention, that's like if someone come to me and say my shoe's untied. Now, at first, I'm going to tie the shoe. You're going to see me tie the shoe. Not everything you can keep coming to me to tie your shoe, but eventually you're gonna see what I did and you're gonna do it yourself. That is, Ifa is not a religion of reliability on the priest. You become a priest yourself. Eventually, you begin to tie your own shoe. It's not about being reliant on anyone.
And most
It's about
religions,
self-reliance and being and identifying the God within yourself, so that you could be able to like take control of your life.
but the thing
That's the
about the
difference
fifth
between this and like religion. You
yeah,
understand?
the yoke. I want to share this. In doing so, for instance, you in the kitchen, you go there. Why do you go to culinary art to learn about cooking? To know how to blend and mix certain spices and things. When mama's in the kitchen making cornbread, you stand and you watch her, and one day you try to make cornbread. You can make your own cornbread once you learn how to do it. Ephah's one who take off the training wheels for your growth, so you'll be able to grow spiritually. Because as long as you got the training wheels on, you're counting on somebody else to keep you balanced. You know.
And that's not the purpose of it. Trust me. After a while, even the Babalawo get tired of seeing you come up in there and ask them questions. They'll start getting real like irritated. Like,
So,
okay, I told you what to do. You ain't do it yet. You know what I'm saying? So and this is the part. You are born with a specific path. It's your goal, not the Babalawo's goal. It's your goal to travel it. Divination just provides the roadmap. Divination does not do it for you. It just tells you which way to go. Okay.
it's like your GPS, huh? Sister Monica, it's 6:30. We're gonna do the other show. We're gonna ride on this one.
We're gonna finish this one up because I want people to really like get it, and I think that
Okay.
Molly will come up.
Our ancestor exists and must be honored. Now, that's one that a lot of folks have a problem with. We don't worship the ancestors. We respect them and we memorialize them. The same way you run around with them dollar bills in your pocket, you are honoring the white man's ancestry. Oh yeah, them dead presidents on them that you use every day in exchange as a source of commerce and communication. Same thing. Yeah.
Before we had that, it was cowrie shells. That was
and that
was the first form of actual like financial currency
exchange. Yeah. And matter of fact, in Ifa, it talks about the spirit of money. The spirit of money says in Ifa, if you work for me, I'll make you my slave. He who I work for, I'll make rich. And anybody know you don't get rich by working, you get rich by investment, making that become and flipping that money over. Yeah.
Say it again. If you work for me, I will make you my slave. Money. This is the spirit of money. So,
spirit of money.
There's an understanding of even the spirit of money. There's an understanding the spirit of everything, and this is like the true form of understanding the spirit of everything. And so, even the spirit of money has a spirit to it, right?
Yeah.
So, if you working to get money, you're gonna be a slave.
Yeah. But if money
if you make it work for you,
it'll make you rich. And we're talking about investment. The only thing get taxed is income. They don't tax your investments. That stuff like that. You know. Success, sacrifice guarantees success.
Let's get into that because that's where it gets creepy at. Oh, okay, you gotta sacrifice some chickens and you gotta like kill some goats and this, that, the. Let's get into that. So what does it mean by that? Let's go. And then Olaspi says, then the need of hospitals will reduce. Yes, it will reduce because you will be relying on herbs. Because when you become into Ifa, the first thing is that when you go into pills and stuff, there is a thing called the white substance, and most of our pills are made of a white substance, right? And that white substance in Obatala is forbidden, and you are supposed to go in with the fauna and like the actual herbs. You're not supposed to take the white substance.
Medicine and art of what?
I can't read it.
Okay. It says Yoruba medicine, the art of divine herbalism. Know what herbs you use to get it done. So if I divine to Osang, as the book says, call on the God of harvest, and I got a situation. If I divine on this, it tell me what herbs you use to fix my situation. Because it says in the book, it says, and the trees were for the healing of the nation. So that means every herb, there's a herb that can be used to heal. Yoruba medicine is an indigenous and wider practice of African countries. Yoruba medicine has its roots in Ifa corpus, a religion that teaches revealed the mysteries of the prophet Orumla over 4,000 years ago in the ancient city of El Ife, known now as Yoruba land. Within the 400 years, its healing system has been practiced in day by day lives individuals throughout the Caribbean, South America, and large reports of traditions brought by the African slave arrived in the Americas. So not only did slavery work in one thing, but it had to move the concept across the nation, because as the slave moved from one point to another, they carried the idea and the knowledge of that of culture and teaching with them. So it grew. So even though it had its negative, slavery had it probably because it caused a lot of things to move from being stagnant in one place across the globe, according to this.
Now, Oaspi says, I don't know about number 14 because Aj can stop your ebo.
No, it cannot. No, it cannot, because Aj requires you to honor it with an elbow, and that's a request. Everything wants to be respected. If you ask what you want, give me do this, that, and other. Well, and then you ask your father, is there an alternative? You might I can't get no damn rats. There's an alternative. Everything has an alternative. Do not let that tradition custom tell what IJ can, because IJ also can mean a good. You know, we say the IJ, then you got the IJs. You know, so I don't follow that way that can hinder me. I have no need of fear. I have no need of wondering and squandering. No, sacrifice could be ended, because it's not about the thing; it's about the character of the thing that's within me. Everything in the earth is in us. Mosquito conscience.
And by the way, Baba, we're simulcasting on my channel, so the people that was going to be on mine is already here. I've been doing this. We've been on my channel the whole time, so we're still it might not be from the link that we had before, so we could just keep going. So
okay,
listen.
So the thing is this: remember, everything in the world has a spirit, and every spirit comes to the world on a particular old dude. Really, in Ifá, there is no good and bad. It is the obedience to honor a thing, because everything want to be recognized. So if the witch, what they call the night, which is the Aj, Iyamis want something, you ask, well, what do you want? Well, then if you ain't got that, well, then, well, how about I offer you a couple of pears or something? You ain't got to always offer blood, because blood is a thing that they use when they can cook up something. But what you want to do is deal with the characteristics of that thing. A rooster, what kind of characteristics in the rooster of the goat? You know, sheep, etc. You don't have to kill that thing. You got to kill that concept that's in you, or either raise that concept in you, bring your balance. Because me killing a bunch of goats don't change the way I think, and baptizing a bunch of items with it. That's just a memorial to that thing. But the real change comes within you, the character of you understanding that it's a goat, a stubbornness in you that need to be crucified or brought to light for better understanding that your life can go along smooth, because now you're hindering your own growth for the lack of not understanding your purpose and destiny.
So he also said that IJ are witches. Now,
and the word witch means wise and witty. The word witch means wise and witty. Who don't want a witch, a wise person? It says all Babalawers want a witch for a wife, because she's witty and she's crafty. Witchcraft. Witch, witty, and crafty. Know how to get the job done. That's all.
So first of all, Aj in Yoruba has multiple meanings. Refers to wealth, prosperity, and economic success. Also the name of a powerful spiritual force, a deity associated with these concepts. See, we think that we know. Additionally, Aj can refer to women who are believed to possess mystical powers, sometimes associated with witchcraft, both beneficial and harmful. So here's the thing, right? Mm-hmm. I can take the same herb to heal you, or I can give you a little bit too much and it can kill you.
Mess you up.
That's how it breaks down. And that's exactly what happened in Haiti. I can give you some hyssop tea, and it might heal your cancer or stop inflammation. But if I give you a little bit too much of it, it could cause a problem with you. You understand what I'm saying? That's all it really boils down to.
I'm like, Cat, now you can take 2 aspirins to heal a headache and take 13 and kill your ass.
So how much? Say a doctor probably is the biggest witch. You understand what I'm saying?
Voila, because he said he's a big drug dealer. That's like, we got some people that use snake venom now in some rituals. We know good and well, certain amount of snake venom will take your butt out. You know, some people are using herbs. Some herbs will kill you if you don't know what you're doing. I mean, some mushroom will kill you if you don't know what you're doing.
Exactly. So you're saying that the Ajay are witches? No, I mean a doctor could be a witch if he give you too much. If he over prescribe the white powder that you ain't supposed to take. Let's get into the white powder. Let's talk about the white powder, the Obatala. Why is it bad to take the white powder, the pills?
Go ahead. Like I said, I never dealt with that much very much, you know, because most time the Erosun, which is the powder they use when we deal with certain reading and things. So I never got into that particular part.
So there's an aspect of this thing called the white powder, and it's the powder. So Obatala, people that really are born in Obatala. So it's really known that really that so in Obatala is where modern medicine comes into play, where the pills are broken down into white powder. So they use herbs, they break it down, process it, and then it becomes a pill, which is a white powder that they press into a pill. And in IFA, it talks about the birth of that.
Okay.
And for the most part, you're not supposed to take the white powder. You're supposed to go into the herbs and not take the white powder.
Okay.
Because because the white powder, like I said, you can see now that it could get rid of like the symptoms of something, but it won't actually heal you. So it's better.
Is that like cascarilla? Is that like cascarilla?
No, the white powder meaning like an aspirin or ibuprofen, or different like pharmaceutical. Pharmacopoeia. All that pharmacopoeia is under a Obatala, and most people under a Obatala are not allowed to take anything made of white powder because those white powders are dangerous. And then there's like an actual do about the white powder and also stuff. So, but that's like a whole, when you get deeper into it. So witches can stop your ebo. Witches, most of the time, a person that's a witch, most witches can be older women that just have a certain amount of power, and depending on if they are working on there's two hands, right? So you have like the good hand or you have the darker hand. Sometimes you have some people that go into that level of doing stuff and can be doing bad stuff, but that is not what Ifa says to do. You know what I'm saying? They're going on the left hand. The right hand path there's the right and left hand path.
Right. That's called.
So there are people. Go ahead. Go about the left versus right path. Like if you could do bad things against people, but there is a price to pay for that.
That's true, and I tell people all the time, sacrifice guarantees success, but it depends on your intentions when you do it, and how you do it, and what you use to do it.
And if it's justified, like if it's justified, like if you killed my son, and I say, listen, and I do something saying, listen, protection for my family, and in that protection for my family, like maybe say, like I'll give you an example. I was on probation. I had this probation officer that was hell bent on putting me back in jail, right? And she was just a bitch. And I did something, I put her name underneath something, whatever. And I said, listen, I just want this person to be nice to me. That's all I said. I said, I want this person to be nice to me. My Babalawo at the time told me, said, listen, do this and just say, I want this person to be nicer to me. But the person could not be nicer to me. And she ended up just retiring.
Okay.
She ended up leaving her job, because she was not going to be nice to me. There was nothing that would have been done. She was going to continue. So she just eventually moved on in her career.
Moved out. Yeah, good. And
so that's the type. But if you are doing something to harm someone, to make something happen to somebody, to make them feel sick, or to do that's not what this is for. Yeah. Now some people can go into that. Now you have like practices that are like Palo. Ifa and Orisha faith deals more on so you have the chaotic side and you have chaos magic, and then you have the lighter magic that's like more ordered. Ifa is a part of the order. You know what I'm saying? Not the chaos. Now you could do chaos. Chaos, what the difference is that Ifa will stop you from getting into the accident, uh chaos will the accident will still happen, but you probably won't be there. It's like it's like some shit like that. Like almost like in both situations, almost like the multiverse. In both situations, the accident happens. One will let you see it and go around it. The other one is maybe you just won't show up there. You won't even drive down that street. You know, so that's the difference.
And I like to say, remember, we just can't explain everything about IFA to your satisfaction. Some things we evolve getting involved and experience some things, except because some things that she might experience, I might have, or vice versa. Because IFA is a thing of experience and growth. What it takes for me to grow, it might not take that for the growth. It might take something for you, but IFA through divination can tell you what you need to fix your situation where you can grow and obtain, so you have no need of fear. The thing about it, you don't want to let fear disrupt your growth and your purpose in coming to the planet to help make it a better place.
Yeah. So, Mandika, did you want to come? Neo, did you have some questions now that we're done kind of with that? Did you have some questions? And I think Mandika was here. I think he went down. So, what questions do you have, Neo?
Oh yeah, I've been had questions. I was waiting on y'all to get done. All right, so pull up the questions. How y'all doing today? All right. I'm not sure if this is a question, but I can probably work it into a question. Native practitioners of Ifa believe the Orishas are lesser deities, and they believe in one supreme deity. But the practitioners over in the Americas like to deny these beings being deities.
That depends.
Y'all like to call them consciousness and stuff
okay,
like
well,
that.
you can, Neil, it depends on the individual and their concept and opinion, what they think it is. You know, to everybody ain't the same thing. I mean, they want to call some maybe demigods. Like, I recognize it's an energy that we can use to enhance our life. And I try not to get in debates on what you want to call, because you can call a jackass a mule if you want to, but don't make it be either one, either or. But it depends on the person's individual's concept, ideas, and what he believes, accept it to be. The thing about it, if it works for him, fine. If it don't, then you need to find another level. So I don't get into a personal opinion of what a person called to do a thing. I try to stay away from that, because that's where we get into conflict. You know, where one may call it a angel, one may call it a deity, one may call it a orisha. It depends on the culture and how we're taught. They were called orisha, which means ori, head, your inner head, because it works that works within the mind. And I think the book says, "A man thinketh, so is he." So, however you choose to honor it, if it works for you, good. If it don't work for you, then go to the next level.
All right. So are you saying that these are all just conscious energies that live within you
Yes.
solely, not out in the atmosphere, not
No,
outside you? All right,
But
good.
what I'm saying, it works on both levels, because we live in a dual universe, a parallel universe. And it works on the spiritual level, celestial level, as well as terrestrial, because it moves between the two pillars, the two things, and it tells you that we vacillate between earth and heaven in our spirit. A lot of time we lay down at night, we have an out of body experience. Our spirit goes on a journey. It contacts data, come back, get back in the body. That's what I've been taught through the years and learned through the years. No, it covers everything that deals with life and your existence. Because even though you lay down and close your eyes, it does not mean that you'll sleep. Because sometimes you experience other experiences and you wake up some tired and you dip before you lay down and fought all night long. You don't travel all night, And it just to me, my understanding of things about the old Reese's, and I love it because it kept me out of trouble. It'll save me a lot of money and a whole lot of headaches. And I'm not bald because I worry. I'm bald because I cut my hair off. The thing about this, I was telling the guy today, with so much madness and mental illness, IFA can help us to get past that, because rather than wait on a check, you get the check now. The word check means rather wait on an answer for something by praying and waiting on a sign. With the divination system, once you get it, gives you an answer and it gives you a remedy how to either improve it or fix it or how to get around.
All right. So when we were talking earlier before we went live, you stated that Olodumare is not concerned with the affairs of the earth or whatever, mankind, pretty much, right? So are the Orishas concerned with the
Yes,
affairs of
yes.
mankind?
That is one of their responsibilities. And they come in the world, how you come and you find out what Orisha is governing your head. At that time, he becomes your God. You know, in the book, he calls your guardian angel or your power angel, because that's what the responsibility. Why you say, well, once they do a reading, they want to know what Orisha is helping you. And you don't find nobody that's mounted by Olodumare. You'll find more people mounted by Orumila or any of the other Orishas, but Olodumare does not mount anybody and anybody or any individual.
You got
More
to
or less,
be special to be mounted by him, right?
huh?
You got to be special to be mounted by him,
On
right?
how special you are, you don't be mounted by your responsibility goes to somebody, go to another Orisha that works in the capacity, because no one can really stand the power and the pressure of being under that weight
The
of the creative.
power and the pressure of that weight when he mounts you. So
Yeah,
the other Orishas mount you.
they will. They can possess, and they're gonna guide. They're gonna guide you because they're there to help you fulfill your purpose and journey. They might necessarily interfere with everything, but they're there as a guide. You know,
And you can handle the pressure they bring, right?
yes, you can handle it because it's designed for what you're able to do. You know, and what you are able of doing. Nothing beyond your capacity. Because remember, when you according to the teachings, and I'm gonna let you go. You pick what you want to come to the world to do to help make it a better place, and you get the tools you need. Then when you come, then they work with you to handle the tools that you need. So you may come with,
Right.
and you come to be a rap artist to bring consciousness to the world. You know, then that's your purpose, that's your alignment, and then everything will fit right into that particular channel. That's where I was taught, and that's where I've been operating from.
That was pretty good. Did the Orishas tell you that I was a rap artist? All right. Let's go. All
Okay.
right. So how can your consciousness, because you said the Orishas were your consciousness, and so on and so forth. It's not, it's just within you.
Yeah,
So
everything.
how can your consciousness affect the will of others, as Monica previously stated with her anecdotal story about the person leaving the job? How
Way
can your consciousness force someone to leave the job? It's
the thing
affecting
about
the
that
will of
is,
someone else.
what I can say is this: a lot of things we say and do because we are electromagnetic and we are off a vibration. While people say, within 3 feet of me, you in my world, and when you're 3 feet of my world, whatever I got going, it can affect you. It can affect me, both of us, because you're within my world. Once you step out of my orbit, out of my range, is different. The things we say and do, because they're so vibratory, your ear picks it up and it goes into the mind. It's processed. Sometimes it locks in, sometimes it don't. So that's how you have impact on people around here. And it's called telekinesis. You know, we sometimes when I'm thinking about this person, they show up. I went to call that folk and the phone rang.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, I was just about to call you. Why? Why were you just about to call that individual and their phone rang? The
Because the
energy picked up.
Orishas mounted you. Yeah.
Well, no,
Gotcha.
but like this, the air we breathe is nothing but a highway of information. You walk out sometime and get a thought. So where did that thought come from? Because you walked into that avenue and you picked up that thought and you processed it. If it was yours or not, it came through your adapter, and you play it out in your computer, right? Oh wow, well, that ain't none of me. Where did that come from? And ultimately, say, man, we call it. I picked up this thought one day, man. I had this unction. These are thoughts that's out there. There are millions and billions of people thinking, that's breathing in the air, and those breath carries information. You might walk right into it, just like the wind. You ain't seen it, but you just walked in this wind. You feel it, but you don't know where it's coming from. But in that wind, there is a message. That's why the Native American says, listen to the wind. Listen to the truth, because there's a message in the wind. So when you interpret these things, You hear it, you receive it, and your body, and your inner working machine is able to process it.
In the wind, in the water, in the earth, in the air, all over the
Everything has data in it, and you a receiver of loaded data.
All right, and can you tell us about this golden rope that chicken climbed down again?
Well, I mean, that's a mythological story on how Obatala came into the world. There are other stories how things happen in Ifa, and this thing was that one day when the Orishas came together, and that Oldamare, because of the overcrowdedness in the Dianosphere, we got to create another place because it was getting chaotic. So Obama said, well, let me go down and find a place for the human being or for mankind. I use that word for sake of conversation. It's a little deeper than that. So
Yeah.
with permission to do so, the same thing like it did when Aaron went out and get up all the gold to make the golden calf. Mari went among the other researchers and they got up all the gold, and he made this golden chain that would reach from heaven to what would be the earth, but it fell just short of getting into the water, because at that time, according to the story, the earth was covered by a previous flood.
Oh, there
When
was
he
a
came,
flood.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
so when he left out, he left with a 10-toe chicken. He had grains. He had grains of sands in his thing inside of it, like what you call this little shell. They had that, and they had a chameleon all in this bag. And there was, when he came down and got to the end of the end of the golden chain, he saw that was water. He said, "Wow, now here I am stuck on this chain near the tree." So the energy in the bag says, take out the seashell and turn it up, and sand came out of the sand came out and started drying up the water. This is the story. He says, now put the 10-toe chicken down there, and he began to scratch in every direction according to the story. He said, put the chameleon down to walk on to make sure that it's firm enough. After doing that, it says, now you plant the seed of the tree, and that tree became known as the boabab tree of a sycamore tree. And men began to come down on this tree and begin to spread out across the earth. That is the mythology behind the creation story that come out. And there are many other ones, but that's one of the ones that I love, because I'm thinking about in the movie
Jack and the Beanstalk. It was
yeah,
in Jack and the
there
Beanstalk.
he is.
Wait,
Yeah.
but hold on.
Yeah.
Hey, listen. Wait, tell him about the one about Oshun and how, and I think that was probably before that story
Yeah,
about
you're right. You
Oshun.
know, and you can tell me that because, like I said, I love that. And I hung that. There may be other stories, depending what group you're coming from.
Right.
But
So
I
I
like
think
that one. And maybe she can tell me about being a priest. She can tell you the one about that. Then there's another
so.
one.
But I might be wrong. But was it Orumila or was it like Olodumare who sent down the Orishas to create the earth?
Mm-hmm.
And the all the male Orishas, you had Ogun, you had Shango, and Oshun. And so Olodumare told them, listen, you Oshun, all the Orishas need to go and create the earth. And so what happened is all the male Orishas said, you know what, we don't need her to create the earth. So they began to create the earth. And what happened is they created all the things on the earth or whatever, but there was a big calamity that was going on because I don't know what the thing was, that there was that people were warring with each other and this, that, the other, and all the things they created began to crumble. And so they went up to Olodumare and they said, listen, everything that we're doing is crumbling. And he said, well, did you bring Oshun with you? And they said, no, we didn't think we needed Oshun. So what happened is that he said, well, go get Oshun and ask her to help you. And so from what I understood, that when they got Oshun, I think that did she just not want to do it at first? What was it? What was the story? The rest of it, I forget the one part. Well, she eventually she didn't want to do it at first. She said, you guys didn't include me in the beginning, so I'm not even trying to even help, But she eventually she said, you know what? Okay, I'll help out. And then when Oshun came, she helped to kind of bring light and like life into everything that they created. And then the story, the whole thing of the story is that nothing can be created and without the woman.
You know what?
It's like a balance type of thing or something like that, like balance.
There is in the IFA Bible. I'm gonna try to hold this bad boy up. In the IFA Bible, this boy heaven, it says how man came to from heaven to the earth. It gives a whole layout in the particular book, and it says chapter 5, how man came to the world from heaven. There's always been a tendency to see man strictly from a biological perspective. A man and woman meet, and a child is born to them. And the new child is seen as an independent entity. We have already seen that at the beginning of the terrestrial habitation, human beings travel to this world under the leadership of one or more of the divinities, which in Orishas, divinities. We shall
Divinities.
see from this upcoming chapter that a man sojourned to the world, that before man came into the living world, the inhabitants of heaven traveled on their feet from earth to heaven. It's saying like the same story with Job, with in the book of Job.
I know. That's what I asked you before we got on here. Was it the same? The Orishas, the angels, the Nephilim, the Anakim. I asked you, was it the same? And you told me no, but now it's saying the same thing.
Well, I'm reading from the book, not getting from the
Yeah,
book.
that's what I was asking what the book teaches.
Okay,
The book just said divinities, right?
it just says
That was a problem. It said divinities. You just read it. The last sentence you read said divinities.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's more to it than that. In these
Divinities are deities. That's a white word. That's not a black word.
Well, I mean,
That's a European. Europeans made up divinities just like they made up the word God. So if they're gonna call them divinities, divinities is synonymous with gods, angels, all of the above. So it's not within you. According to that book, these are deities that you are doing these rituals with, praying to, or whatever you're doing.
No, it's not. No,
Wait, hold on. Can I finish? Don't get mad and cut me off. That's how we get in the pickle every time. So all I'm saying is, according to the Bible, these beings that you're dealing with are demons, fallen angels. That's what the Bible would call them. They went out into all the earth and taught men everything you just sat for 2 hours, almost 3 hours, telling that the Orishas did. That's what the Bible say the fallen angels did. They went out and did all this stuff. So I'm asking you, how do you know that these Orishas are just figments of your imaginations or consciousness, whatever you call them, figments of your imagination? That's what consciousness is trapped within you. But you trying to do spells and shit on people, getting people to quit their jobs and all this, but this is supposed to be in your mind. So what I'm saying is, what's the difference between that and a demon and a sorceress, like the Bible say? What's the difference?
First and foremost, in your understanding, that is your definition of it, and where you gotten it from. That is not what I'm dealing with. And you can we can go into a disagreement about this, that, and other jackrabbits, or the cottontails, or the is a zebra or a horse. But I'm telling you, based on the information that either one of us have and your definition and interpretation. No, to me,
that wasn't my definition. That was in your book. That was in your book.
That's why.
No. You're using a word to define something. That does not. That is not. No,
his
listen.
Book said divination.
No, it does not mean no.
Word. Let me look up the etymology of divination right quick, since y'all in here.
All right.
You don't want me to do that because you know what divination came from.
Go ahead and look up divination.
It don't matter where it came. Neo, please.
Hey, real quick, y'all. Y'all gonna be all right? Cause I think y'all gonna be all right. Kermit.
But no, yeah. But I do want to.
Neo here to debate and discuss, and that is what I'm about today. Neo, I'm not. I won't care.
No, we're not debaters. We terminators, brother.
Wait. Neo, please, my brother. We're all using Eurocentric stuff that's in English. If you put this in the Yoruba context, that word would not be there. If I put it in the other language other than English, that word would not be there because the word did not exist. Okay, so we're not going to argue about another man writing about a language that we've been taught to use that we call English, which is not English. So I'm not going to get into a linguistic dialogue about you, whether it's a demon or a jackass or a rabbit or a kangaroo. All I'm saying is this: some of the similarities of the stories are the same, whether you call it a demon or not. We call they call them giants, Nephilims. They came down according to your book. Were they demons? What is a demon? Who determined what a demon is? Because in your book, your God say that he's the author of both good and bad, light and dark. Is he a
So he
demon?
made your God.
What?
That's what he said. He said he made your gods.
No, he said that. No,
I mean Orishas. My bad. I didn't mean to say gods. I mean
No, there's no word for Orisha in any.
But in Isaiah 4, he said, I make light, I make dark, I created evil, I created good. I do all these things by myself.
Yeah, he said he made your ass. He said he made all of. He said he made Olodumare. He said he made the lesser Orisha.
Where did it say he made Olodumare at?
He said he just read it. Read it again. Read it again for him. Read it again for him.
No,
it just said, I do all these things. I the Lord, do all these. That's in my book.
Yeah,
she asked where did 45 and 7. I know it. I got it in songs. I know the scripture.
Look,
you're talking to a real one right now. You're talking to a real one.
So just because you can talk loud does not mean that you're right. First of all, what is the name for? Hold on,
brother.
What is the name?
Wait, hold on, Baba. Can we set up a show another day where me and you dialogue without the sister? That's all I'm saying.
Absolutely not.
You know why?
I don't need to do this no more. Look, Neo and this bitch, original Lions Den member, signing out. You goddamn right. I'm a motherfucking rapper, entertainer, and influencer, and I'm out this bitch. Y'all can have this shit.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Like
what a powerful show, man.
But let me say something real quick about this. That's bullshit.
I'm my intelligence to argue with a brother who set on making something ain't that is, and I don't care how he feel about it. And that's not how we roll. You there to hear to argue, and we're trying to listen to learn to grow. No, I'm not going to expose myself to that. I'm not going to step off out there in that like that because I'm 79. I ain't got to prove. Excuse my French. I ain't got to prove shit to nobody. You got to get where I am.
Hey, Bob, listen, you teach me the ways, man, and I'm gonna be that IFA warrior for you. You hear me?
And bottom line,
I'll debate it. You hear me? So I'm transitioning over into the IFA. I want to learn about that. So
and let me explain.
I'm only hold on real quick because I'm 54, so I got some years left in me to yell and scream. See, but the elder right here, he almost 80, Neo. So that's why he kind of take it light on him. Now if it was the apostle, that's what he's about. Apostle will get down with you, but I mean the elder right here, he's almost 80. So I want to be 80 on the panel, but I don't want the youngsters yelling at me. So respectfully, that's how we get out of the lines there. But sometimes we gotta let the elders, give us some grace. You know what I mean?
And I can appreciate that.
I ain't picking no sides on that. I'm just saying.
My thing is, if I'm out in this water, you ain't got to do me no favors. I can defend myself. If you chose not to listen, that's your problem. Because once I shut down and the universe kick in and start kicking your ass, that's between you and the universe. And I've seen it happen too many times. Now you want to get in, you want to use chosen words and this, that, and other, fine and good. Do that. I've been there. But when you're all said and done, when the universe kick in and you start kicking all this hell, what demon you gonna blame that on? Or who gonna save your butt? And I want you to understand that this is real. This is real. I've seen folks literally check out here because you get a warning, your time to change, you choose not to. And the next thing is, bam, your numbers checked and called up. I don't need anybody to defend me. No, nobody defend me. I can defend myself. Oh, well, if I can't defend myself, I need to kick my black ass at the house. If I get in this water and can't defend myself, why am I on the battlefield? And this ain't my first, second, third, or fifth rodeo. I've debated with the best. It's just we got to have a certain amount of decorum when we get it and not let our emotions override common sense. And that's the point. And I would love to share my knowledge because when I go, somebody got to keep this battle going on. And I love the brother said, man,
that's me.
Yeah.
And listen, I like straight up, I want to like just say something about the Orisha because he's trying to equate the Orisha with angels and demons. And bottom line is the river a demon? Is a tree a demon? Is the volcano a demon? The Orisha represents all facets of nature outside and inside the body. So therefore, why in the hell would you equate something that's inside of you as a demon? That shows your lack of knowledge and your lack of refinement, that you cannot understand that when we're talking about owners of your head, there is no word in English for Orisha.
No.
We have to explain it by using English words, but Orisha is the owner of consciousness. So therefore, why would you take a word so beautiful and turn that into a demonic entity? That means that your consciousness is demonic, that you have a demonic presence on you, because anyone that would take a word named Orisha, when I actually explained it, because you didn't go back and look at it, now you want to attack it and try to equate it with whatever the hell's going on in the Christian Bible about the demigod or whatever the hell you're trying to, like, demiurge or whatever, like the demons that got has nothing to fucking do with the Orisha. The Orisha are the things that created the earth, the mountains, the hills, the everything that's on this earth. And I tried to explain that they created the earth before the earth was formed. They were a part of the forming of the earth. So how in the fuck would that be demonic? Why would the creation of earth be demonic?
This is new, sister. Champ. So to the communities, and we've been trained to think that, this demon stuff. When it comes to African spirituality, especially with voodoo and stuff like that. So we just gotta, give them baby food, and then then we can move them up to them little Lunchables, and then maybe a little appetizer, then the meat and potatoes. You hear me?
Yeah,
But hey, Elder, I appreciate you coming on. I'm gonna get your number, and I'll start doing my training with you, teachers.
I'm looking,
but I gotta talk to my wife, y'all. So y'all
What the hell he on? Like, why is it that a person has to want to just win so bad that they just
real quick, that's the culture of the Lions Den. It ain't as bad as the back chats. The back chats get worse, but we got warriors, we got people who trying to understand, we got people who want to stand on their position. So just don't take it personal. Neo
but I'm gonna say this is why is it that when I speak up, because hey, can I like bring you off to the side and attack you alone?
No way.
Absolutely no.
Go out and sit down with a bunch of dogs and say, hey man, look.
Honey, my whole Orisha is Oya. It is the wind. It is the thunder and lightning. If you don't understand, that's why he hated the fact that I was stepping up. Like, no, you don't get to do that to nobody. I'm a warrior spirit. So I'm sorry that you don't like the fact that I'm gonna step up and and be a warrior and protect. Yeah. But Obatala, listen. Y'all protects Obatala, and that's what you see. He got all white. That's Obatala right there. You don't get to just talk anyway to Obatala.
Yeah, but like I said, but at least we stole the rock and stirred him up. So now he got to think.
Go on ahead and watch the video over again and take some notes and stop all that bullshit. You know what I'm saying?
What I understand is, out of all the organ, when his mind settles down, everything we say that planted a seed in his conscience, it's going to start reacting. He's gonna start doing analyzing it, because you're trying to find a way to crush it, and it's gonna draw him right in like a magnet. Then he got to humble down and say, you know what? I'm sorry, you're right. Because that's how most people I dealt with fought, and finally had to humble down and say, you know what? You're right. So he's like a fish in water. He caught on the hook. He caught. Let him dance. Let him run out there. When he get tired, he'll settle down and say, okay. He's like a fish.
I just asked the brother, go ahead and rewatch this. He said it's been 2 hours. You ain't been here for 2 hours. You've been over there on Sonetter panel and then came over here and asking questions and talking shit. You only been over here for probably maybe 20 minutes. Let's be real, fam.
And he's trying to he's like a gunslinger trying to find a gun. You think the okay corral, bro. You're not to run up in and then run. No. But what I do, we shoot thoughts through the subconscious subliminally, so that when you lay down at night, it will wake you up and you'll be thinking about it. Trust me. And you'll be calling, man, well, what about it? That's all Orisha
This
works.
ain't Christianity. We not fixing to listen. We know this is not. Listen, this is. Let me just say this: African spirituality is not Christianity. We listen. We do not forgive. We do not back down. What does anonymous say? We don't forget. We don't forgive. We don't back down. And blah 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 blah. This is not a religion of turn the other cheek.
No,
Straight up. So
no.
watch it out. Watch out. Don't be saying all that bullshit.
And you face
Straight
it
up.
one day.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway.
And we ain't got to do nothing. Like we ain't gonna light no candle, do nothing. But you disrespecting a elder like that, you don't do that. There are rules to this game. When you have an elder up here that is sharing his knowledge of like 79 years, you don't get up here and act like that. And then you mad because I'm protecting him. Of course I'm gonna protect my elder. What the hell he on? What the hell he on, Tay? Come on now. All right, y'all. Much love. You listen. We were supposed to do a show on my channel. And I'm just gonna let this one ride because I know Baba been, he been up here for like hours.
Yeah, let's go.
3 hours. We're gonna wrap it up. Shouts out. Happy Father's Day, Baba. Happy Father's Day to my nigga Molly. Happy Father's Day to the people in the chat. Any fathers out there, if you ain't getting no Father's Day gift, you know what I'm saying? Much love. You are protected and much love. I know if y'all got like some socks or some a tie, a picture from your little children. They be giving the little Happy Father's Day. Here's a picture, Daddy. You like, damn, that's all I get.
Let me have my money making money. Let me keep my money flowing.
Oh, hold on. Let me see if I can like play that one. Let me see.
Yeah, baby girl, it's working. I'm telling you, it's working. You hear me? And I kid you not, it's working. Man, a dude walked me the other day, didn't know me from Canada Pen, had me $60. Go buy you a meal, old man.
Oh, wait, that song is working like that? It's been working
like that, baby. It's working like that. You hear me?
Hey, listen, I'm gonna play I made this song called Money Making Money. It's a money mantra. People in certain things might be like, oh, that's witchcraft.
It is working. You hear me?
Hey, listen, I'm about to play it for y'all because I want y'all to really manifest money.
Yeah, yes, yeah.
Ashe, I'm
it is working, y'all. I lie to you not. Man, I mean, a total stranger walked up and was getting out the car, going up and go. So you going inside? Yes, so detectives and on me, and me $60.
That's why you be like, play that song again every time I play.
I'll play it. Make me showing up, man.
All right, I'm about to share it. Hey, listen, can you put this on here real quick, and then we gonna get up off here. Much love, guys. This is called the Money Mantra, y'all. And I want y'all to think about making money. Can you put it up there real quick?
Yeah, that's it. Please, I want to say I appreciate the host for bringing us on.
La Jefa, can you put that up there? Okay, here we go. So put it up there. Can you put it full scale? If you hit the button on the thing on the left hand side, it'll play it full scale.
Yeah, that.
If you know how where the actual thing. Okay, never mind. That's probably too much. Yeah, let's play it. Here we go.
That's it.
To make money, money making money, money making money, money making money, money making money.
Look at him.
Manifest, making money, money making money, money making money, money making money. I ain't stressed. Making money, money making money, money making money, money making money. Gratitude is my attitude. I'm making money move. Jewelry in the safe, piggy bank on full. And I'm living life abundant. I'm making money fast. I'm a money making magnet, making cold hard cash. I'm making money. Oh, yeah. I am blessed.
All right now.
Money making money, money making money, money. Money, making money. Manifest, making money. Money, making money. Money, making money. Money, making money. I ain't stressed. Making money. Money, making money. Money, making money. Money, making money. Gratitude is my attitude. I'm making money moves. Jewelry in the safe, piggy bank on food. And I'm living life abundant. I'm making money fast. I'm a money making magnet, making cold hard cash. I'm making money. Oh,